Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Welcome to Chalkedcast number 18. I'm here with my co-hosts, Johnnyboi and CJ, and our special guests. Actually, he's a regular at this point, ApparentlyJack, and our special guest, Chicago, as well. These two have just qualified for the Rotterdam Major. And oh my god, some guy said muted. He scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I want to give a quick congratulations to them, as well as kind of ask them, because I feel like there were completely different perspectives going into this regional about, we can start with Jack, about how you felt going into the regional, because you guys had already qualified.
Yeah, so obviously we knew we were, more relaxed than every other team, let's be honest. I think that, some of the teams that weren't qualified or weren't in a good spot particularly were probably stressed going into the regional. They need a good performance, whereas we were like, we want a really good performance. If we bomb out, or if we do a bit worse than we want to, then yeah, we'll be sad, but it's not going to be the end of the world. But that being said, we were extremely we really want a good performance in this last regional, and just to have the momentum going into the major, and just to, you don't want to have a couple good performances. You want to win every tournament, right? So yeah.
And Reed, what about you? How did you feel going into the regional?
No, I felt great. No, regional 2 is probably pure stress, and it caused a terrible performance. So obviously every day after that was talking and trying to just figure out how we need to improve and do what we need to do. But I also just tried to try and have fun, just because I came with the same mentality and stressing over it every day. I think that I would have just crumbled, just ended up ruining the performance just of all the hard work. So, but we knew again, we were in we controlled our own destiny, which is nice. So we didn't have to rely on any other teams. So we were just focused on ourselves, and kind of by the end of Swiss or day one, we played how we wanted to. We got the job done, and everyone else almost did the work for us, except for one quarterfinal match.
But did you say that you were more nervous for Regional 2?
No.
Than this one?
I was more stressed, which probably caused more nerves. Yeah. Because...
Why do you think that was?
Just because, I don't know. I've never been, on top of NA for a good bit. So, whenever I feel we're expected to win, I feel we just, at least that's what I come into the weekend or come into the tournament thinking okay, we have to win. So instead of looking at one match at a time, I kind of just if we're not playing immediately in impeccable or how we want to, it's just not a failure, but it's just okay, this isn't looking good for our tournament chances, when instead I just need to be kind of going game by game and just figuring out how to win that series. Because at the end of the day, whenever you win a tournament, you're not trying to win it from match one. You're going throughout the tournament and getting better, which is what I've experienced. But also the thought of not making a major kind of went crazy, because that's the goal, and missing one would after all the lands have come back, it would be super sad. So I think that was in the back of my mind as well, as we were crumbling, getting reverse swept.
CJ, explain yourself for our listeners. Explain yourself for our listeners who have no idea why you're laughing.
I just saw a random comment chat my guy Rizzo looking like a traffic cone, and now I'm just running with that. Everyone's driving slower in Rizzo.
They're not fan of the orange.
Why do they just roast Rizzo?
I don't know. I'm just wearing an orange shirt.
You can't. I swear you can't get away with anything. He's just existing.
Something about this chat when everyone the Chalkcast gets together and it's just a roast session, and I just can't help but read the chat. And you find some just random comments.
I was dying. The last time I was on there, I was dying for 5 minutes. I wasn't able to talk. I was I'm not going to be able to talk for the rest of the stream.
Or like Chicago's like explaining to like all of the pros all over the world, like actually this is how you can be more calm even though their pressure is higher, and there's the chat's just like talking about Rizzo looking like a traffic cone, like good stuff.
Somebody said I
good
look
job.
like candy corn.
Like he can't catch a break.
Cargo, I wanted to say, so going into that regional, right, I feel like it was so close. Like we had the race for like 6 teams. But in the end, it's actually, you guys are pretty comfortably 5th. Like, did you guys sort of going into it, like, we've got this covered, we've got all these other guys locked? Because right now it feels like top 5 actually clears NA, but going into it, it was pretty close.
Well, honestly, like, I think we knew since we were 5th, we got extra confidence not being behind a team and having to outperform someone. But the fact that like Furia was behind us was a little bit nerve-wracking probably, and Cole as well. Not so much Optic and NRG, looked better, but I knew they're kind of more a shot in the dark. So
hold on, you're saying that the main competition was Furia and Complexity, definitely not Optic and NRG. We need you to explain this.
I didn't think Optic was. I thought Optic was the least competition. I didn't really have them making it all. Mm-hmm. Furia, well, they had 2 top 8s, and they were like a Game 7 OT away from making a top 4. And I think we beat them in Game 6. So I knew I felt like they're almost due for a good performance, like a top 4 or better. And then NRGs could be, like what we saw out in Swiss or another top 4. So I kind of was more afraid of the consistent teams. Maybe not so much Cole, but like honestly Shopify, because I don't know what happens to them, but they're the best scrim team I've ever played. And I don't know what happens to them in RLCS, but I kind of, no one was thinking about them. And I usually think that's the best for a team, is when you have no pressure, no eyes on you, and they could just come out guns blazing. Probably mostly Furia. I was kind of just eyeing their Swiss run.
Yeah, that makes sense. So at Shopify, you mentioned that they're a really good scrim team. They I think they're like in 10th or something now in overall points. Weren't Queso after last, like Queso now Moist, after last season's fall split, I think they were something like 10th in EU, and they were also like touted as one of the best scrim teams. So maybe, who knows? Maybe this is a chance for Shopify to go on a Queso run, just like become the dominant force.
I think like, no hate to EU, but I think NA knows how to like defend an air dribble, where like EU learned how to do that after playing Queso. So like, I just think they can't come in and storm through NA like Queso.
Well, did you not see Seiko like dominating fall split only air dribbling in EU?
Well, doesn't that make sense? They couldn't defend it, so he's dominating.
Yeah, but they didn't learn it from Queso. They learned it from like Seiko, I think.
So
Seiko raised the bar.
Hang on, Seiko in full, right? You cover the air dribble, and he pancakes on. He's a bot fennec. He pancakes on.
Oh, okay, wait. So hold on.
Wait, what is a bot fennec?
We're getting bot fennec already. This is good.
It's a type of play style, a type of mechanics. The players can have different mechanics that they're put into different categories. You have the bot fennec, which is like it's a clunky type of mechanical player in a fennec, and they just do everything really consistently. And Seiku's the master of that. So you cover an air dribble, and he just like, his car just goes back, and he gets a flip set where he's like, how has he even got the flip? And he just goes underneath you. But who are
the other bot fennecs before you completely move on from this?
Exotic. This is a compliment, by the way. This is a compliment. Exotic.
Yeah, people will think that you're being mean, but actually by bot, explain bot.
Fennec.
Like what kind of bot? You mean bot?
You like efficient?
You mean bot as in they're programmed?
Yeah. Like you look at them, and you'd like a robot moving around the pitch. They're like they're not the fluid like mechanical. They're like the clunky. I like it. I wish.
But also, you can't beat bots in some games. So Rocket League maybe just has to wait a few years before the bots become incredible.
Someone said a chronic. No, a chronic's the opposite. A chronic's the.
It's like they.
Ocalid is a.
Yeah, kind of.
Example what you mean.
Yeah, but they're like the more heavier. Mechanical players. Yeah, they look heavy.
Yeah, you don't want a 50-50 a bot fennec. So sorry, Jack. We needed an explanation of that because this is new terminology that Jack's like trying to popularize. But you were trying to say something.
With Shopify, that was the team we're on about, right? If they could do a Queso, it's like Queso were like 3 players that. Yeah, Rise had a previous top 8 run with like Barrage back in like fall of RCS Season X, but like the other 2 hadn't really done anything in Vitera's case, or very little with Joe's case of making regionals. So it's like 3 young players teaming together for the first time, one of their first decent teams, and like coming up together. I feel like Shopify are not like that. They're not going to have the same kind of, come up. I don't think any team ever again will have that kind of dominance after like an average split.
Okay.
You don't think it'll happen ever again?
No, I
like
don't.
going from 10th in EU or NA to.
I mean, it's very difficult to even find a team that will be able to do second at major into first at major, like, and doing well in online 2 splits, like, let alone them doing it from being relatively unknown players.
Okay, that's fair enough. Man, we really crunched out like a whole pile. Like we were like wondering when Bot Fennec was going to come up. It's like already.
Someone said Team Liquid kind of did it. What? Team Liquid never got second at major, first at major. What?
Yeah, not even close.
He's tilted. You said just before we went live, Jack, you guys going 3. Talking about the Swiss stage. You said going 3-1 in Swiss is better than going 3-0. So did you guys intentionally throw against G2 to then bolt them in the semis?
No, not quite. I wish, but no. No, I don't like. It was kind of like a passing comment. Like I have always thought that like going 3-1 like it does seem to be sometimes more effective than going 3-0, but no, it wasn't a throw.
What happened then? You guys went from not G2 dominating you guys. I mean, full respect. I know Chicago's here, but you can unleash on him. What happened in the semi-finals? The turnaround to then absolutely destroy them.
I mean, they played a really good series. I thought in the Swiss, we'd had 2 series versus like 26. I think we played 26 Ryzen and Seoul. Obviously, 2 lower opponents, and then we came out against G2, and it was like, okay, we just got 8-0'd in the first game. Like, that's not even an exaggeration. I think we got 8-0'd, and I was like, that's a change in level. And we just felt really uncomfortable, and just we were trying to play like standards Rocket League, and we realized that wasn't going to work, so we just kind of changed it up. And I don't think that will happen again, to be honest. There was a one-off series with the 4-0, but yeah, we won that one, so yeah.
I want to Cargo. Let's on the CJ show. You weren't roasting Gen G. You're thinking, how can they keep doing this? Top twos, and now all of a sudden they've won a regional. I feel like this has been the mindset over these boys. They just why are they so good? What makes Gen G right now the best in NA?
Oh, I think it's like a mindset diff. Just because like
mental diff.
I mean, it's like individually, like. They're all up there, but there's beast mode. So it's not like it's individual. Like they have the 3 best players in NA, but when you want to win that much and you're putting in the hours, well, first of all, they're obviously a really good team who works really well together. Like they would be a top 5 team just off of, they know how to work well with each other, play with each other, play style wise, play against other teams. But then when you have the grind and the mentality and wanting to win, so you're putting in the crazy hours, and all your players are individually at their best, it's really hard to beat, as well as like, they're a really good team, except it's like they're excelled just because how individually on point they all are. So it's just tough. But no, yeah, I think it's just, I mean, they were hungrier than any other team in NA, and it showed, to be honest. It wasn't even close.
Well, when does the mental diff end for Gen G, Jack? When do you guys actually start when is it not? It's not even a honeymoon at this point for you guys. You guys just keep winning. But when does the have fun meta end for a team? Is it just the time that you spend together? Eventually, you're going to get sick of each other. When is the demise of Gen G?
No, not quite that. Most predictable, chance for this to happen, to end, because obviously every new team has this like, we really want to play together. I've never been on a team that's been together like the same team for over a year. I could imagine that's quite like, you're seeing the exact same people, the exact same play style for every single day in scrims. Whereas on a new team, you're still excited, and you're still excited to play tournaments together and still getting used to each other. It usually, I think, ends after probably your first LAN together. You have like you probably get a bit like, okay, yeah, I'm sick of these guys now. Let me get back home for a little bit and reset. So, but we're very well aware that one of our best strengths is our environment. So we're going to be doing, everything in our power to keep that. And I think with the personalities on this roster, including our coach, I think it will hold. So there's no worries in that department from us.
There's I think you can have a more positive outlook than first LAN, and then it's downhill from there. I think it's possible
I'm
to
just speaking from
survive a LAN.
I'm speaking from experience, Johnny.
I know. I think that might be the. I think that
People.
If you still liked your teammates after a LAN, that wouldn't be weird. I think you'll be fine.
I think with this roster, I'll be fine. Yes, that's what I did say. But I think in the past, after the first LAN, it could perhaps go downhill with certain rosters.
Do you think that a lot of it goes from because from my experience and from just any player I've ever talked to is they always enjoy playing in the LANs obviously a lot more than online. I say obviously, but I mean it's just much more fun. Do you think it's something along the lines of going to LAN and having that high and being I mean seriously, it's the best moments of a lot of these people's lives, and then so it's you go from that and then you're back to online play for 2 months. Do you think it's just a big mental demotivation or something?
Usually I think you experience a bit of a motivate from my experience, you have a bit of a motivation boost from being at a LAN, especially if you do bad, you really want to do well, even if you've not qualified and then you go to the LAN to watch, you're I really want to be there playing, and then when you come back it could, when you have really high highs, you're going to have inevitably a big drop off, and the larger the drop off, it usually amplifies how bad it seems. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think if you go back from a LAN to an online, it can be demotivating if you do it for a long period of time in online play. But at the same time, it's very difficult to go back into regular life anyway. Obviously at LANs, you're getting recognized, and then you go back and you are no one. You can walk around, you're no one. So it's that's a big difference as well. So it's a lot of small factors that can lead to that. But it's just how you cope with it. Every player's different individually.
Chicago, what have been the big demotivational, plateaus in your career that you've had to get through, and why do you think Jack thinks it's because he went to a LAN and he's well, there's now leave the LAN and the motivation's gone from this team I'm on. But what about for you? What kind of experience have you had?
What experiences have I had that caused me to be demotivated?
Well, yeah, if you've got a theory as to what it would have been, and is it the same as Jack? Is it different?
It's just mainly poor results. Just because I think I've been on G2 for so long, and we've always since I was 18 or 17. Our goal has always been top 2 or make whatever LAN that was coming up. So season 8, when that didn't happen, it was crazy demotivating. And then again, these regionals and season X was really hard to be motivated just because it felt like we couldn't achieve what we wanted to. And there's nothing really worse than just getting terrible results when you could be playing better or executing better as a team.
Do you think, Cargo, if you didn't beat me in the Season 6 World Championships, that your career would have gone straight out the window?
Dude, I was so nervous that series.
You carried, actually, if I remember correctly.
No, you carried.
Yeah,
Classics
absolutely
crazy
1v5.
enablers. No, but I think that LAN was I had no clue, because I honestly thought that match was a coin flip, and then if we lost that, I don't know who we would have played, but I could have seen us, going out again. But again, just one match could be crazy important.
Wasn't it Cloud9? Wasn't that the start?
I think it was, yeah.
Of their run? No, was it season 5 or 6? I forget.
6.
Yeah, I think it was Cloud9. So you dodged Cloud9 by beating CJ, I believe.
Yeah,
yeah, we had Cloud9. That was sick. We started their lower bracket run. They can actually.
Yeah, that's something.
So that's really interesting that you say how season 8 was demotivating for you, because I felt like
I really like that season.
I hated that season. That season sucked. But when we got like dead last, I felt more motivated to prove that we were not shit. It was like a completely different, because I remember like when we went into boot camps and stuff, I mean, it seemed like everybody was super motivated. Or like even before the boot camps.
Well,
Like, right
yeah. Before, the season 8 boot camp was like more motivation to not retire and like lose my job. So it was kind of because of that. Because like,
Okay.
if we would have gone down to RS, I think it would have been pretty rough. But once we kind of had the idea of the team house, I think that's where it kind of turned a new leaf, and like the motivation kind of like flipped on, just because I knew how much better we were when we were together. And then also it's just like, how cool of a comeback story would it be if we just went from last to first?
And we did it.
And we did do it.
And we did it, didn't we?
That's right, they did.
Yeah.
Has any other team
Like
actually
all
done
days.
that? Has any other team gone from like relegation to then winning? Because it was like the very next season that you won, season 9.
I'm not
I
sure.
don't know if any other team's done that. Because most of the teams who are like going down to relegation from RLCS and getting back in would just have another bad season. Let's just
A bit of different sport. BDS went from the RLRS.
No,
Well,
not
they got
that's
promoted.
different.
Like, they got promoted.
Promoted
So I'm,
into
thinking-
Well,
I'm
extra
thinking like,
didn't extra technically, because
Oh,
yeah.
no, you're right. Yeah, he did.
but that, he said
He
team.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Extra went 0-9, and then
that's true. Yeah, Extra did it
But,
as an individual.
but you could tell. Like, I remember like.
Oh, no, he was
I-
sick though.
Yeah, I remember
the best
even
player.
me. I was just watching. I was like saying, like, this guy like looks really good, and I wasn't anything. I couldn't, I wasn't a prophet. So, but, like, you could tell he was like gonna be good at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was sick.
Reed, I gotta ask.
yeah.
In season 8, if we fell in the promo relegation tournament, what do you think would have happened to the team?
You would have retired. Like,
You're probably
and I
right.
think, well, that I just don't like.
Yeah, I don't
don't
think I
know.
would have.
I
I
think-
don't think I would have found another team. I don't think I would have even tried. I feel like we would have
Well, I
just
just think,
disbanded. Or do you think you
Yeah.
and Jake would have stuck?
well, that's the thing. I think like if you tired, then maybe, but I could also see. Well, what happened to NRG in season 8?
They won.
They
won,
did.
okay,
They won the
never
World
mind.
Championship. Yeah.
Okay, well, I was gonna say like, because like J-Naps and Garrett always wanted a team, but
Oh,
like
yeah?
the times were never right. So I could see him going to like Energy, but they won't, so that wouldn't have happened. Yeah, I don't know. We might have stuck.
It's-
I honestly have no clue.
Would you have stuck in rival series though, or would you would both probably got like offers from RLCS teams?
Oh,
and
wait. Oh
had
yeah,
to
that's
take
true.
them?
You would have to stuck in because it was still 2/3. Like
Oh,
even
mm,
RLCS
yeah, you
teams
would-
would have to. Yeah, you guys would have
Yeah,
had to split
yeah,
if you
you'd-
wanted to be in
you'd-
RLCS.
Yeah,
we would have
exactly.
disbanded then.
That's crazy.
Goddamn.
The
Sliding
chain has-
doors.
chain has
Pressure's
popped
on.
off.
Yeah.
Precious.
God,
I
I'm
mean,
about
it's
to
already
log back in.
happened.
I'm about to do it again.
That's
Doesn't come
I'm
back.
trying to like remember exactly the well, I don't remember all of the reasons, but it sounds to me like the motivation is very, I mean, not and understandably so, like results oriented for you guys, and I would imagine that that's the case for most pros. It's like, the results are where the motivation comes from, and like get qualifying to lands is a big part of where the motivation comes from. But is there like, I mean, this is I think why new teams would do so well, is because like surely there's a lot of motivation for improving. And if you got a new team and you lose, you're like, no big deal. We can improve this. It's easy to come up with like reasons to improve and like to think that you're going to do better. But if you've had the same team for ages, do you think it's just harder to find that motivation to improve?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
So like we tried this, didn't work. We tried
Yeah,
this, still
it's
lost.
like-
Tried that, still lost. Like maybe there's just not going to work.
It's like
just no
habits
belief.
as well, though.
And-
Like you just get into the same rhythm.
and you just
Can't break
start
it.
like I feel like you start. I don't know. Maybe like I think you start losing a bit of respect for each other over time. Unless your team's like really good, environment for the whole period of you teaming. But a lot of teams aren't like that. You probably lose a bit of respect for each other. Not everyone, like at the start of a team, I feel like from my experience, everyone's giving input. This and you say what's on your mind, like, I think we should be doing this, and it usually works because you're so like free flowing. Whereas you start overthinking it a little bit as the team goes on, and you might become reluctant to say, to point out things, or you might be overdoing it, overanalyzing. I think so. it's just different at the start of the team. It's very easy to mesh well with each other because you've not had as much time to get annoyed at each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's it simply, really.
Sorry, Zidu, what's that?
I was gonna say, like, once things are set in stone, like with your playstyle, as you said, it's so hard to then be like, "Hey, let's try this," because it's just like, especially if it's worked at some point, then you don't really want to change it because you're like, "Oh, well, we just need to like do what we were doing before and we'll win." So we don't need to like do anything drastic. So I feel like it's so hard to just like break everything and then pretend like you're a new team again.
Yeah, do you think that there's like you mentioned, Jack, they're overthinking? Like, I would not be surprised if that is like rampant in the bubble scene and in the up and coming teams. Like overthinking like what you need to do. Like, I don't want to like bring up anything specific here, but occasionally I'll like tune into like, you know, comms videos, and I'm listening into a team trying to qualify for like an event or trying to get their best finish, and I'm like, they are just thinking way too hard about what they're doing. And this might just be my opinion, but like I'm listening to them like, why are they making all these make all these changes? Just boom the ball. Just go in and boom the ball around. Like,
did you say teams that are qualifying for events?
Like either qualifying or like trying to like get their deepest run. I'm like, just play the game. Like, stop thinking. You don't need to talk about like what you need to improve on after every goal. Like, just play. You're way overthinking this.
Definitely. No, sometimes I'm in like for some reason I really like watching Open Qual Day 2's streams.
Oh, those are so fun.
I think you're in the same one as me. I won't say which one, but there was one that I was like, because I feel bad because the team that watches will know. But I know I've been in multiple, so it's not you. It's the other team I was watching. But there was like 6 managers in the call, like 5 coaches, like giving their input.
I swear there'll be like managers
every goal.
Who don't even play Rocket League. They'll be like
in there too, like, hey,
the Oregon is in there, like, guys, I think we just need to do this. Yeah,
it's like I put my headset. I went back. I went somewhere and came back and put my headset on. And another guy was speaking. I was like, "Who is this?" He's just joined the call and giving his input. It's like it's not even in between games. It's like every goal. It's like
every goal.
You need to push back more. I'm like, what is going on? Like, you just
I love it. Why? Where'd the American accent come from here? I thought we were just talking like general, you know, people. Like, why are you?
Yeah, but this guy was clearly American. I don't know. Doesn't mean they're coaching any team. Could have been an NA coach coaching any team.
Yeah, good save. No, it's. I think it's just overdone. I mean, I'm thinking as well to like Queso's success. Like, they had a very, I think, a different approach to coaching when they were not seeing success, and then they just decided to not do replay reviews, not like, you know, go very specific with coaching, just basically do no coaching at all, and then they were the best team in Europe. Like, Rocket League, I think, is it's not a game that should be like coached to specifically in some cases. Some cases maybe it can be, but I really think that all the up and coming teams, maybe not all, but a lot of the up and coming teams just think way too hard.
Kind of, yeah.
It's not that deep.
Also, like, teams work with different, you know, strategies and how to do it. Like, I know G2, I think you guys like do quite a lot of replay analysis, right?
Yeah, a good amount.
And I feel like BDS are another team that did quite a lot. And those two teams, I've always said, well, since they came top 2 at the Worlds, they're like the most structured teams, you know, in their approach to playing.
But do the players, I mean, Chicago, do you want to explain like what a replay analysis would be from for G2, unless you don't want to give away the secret strats, and it's, you know, fine not to, but what does a replay analysis mean? Is it the coach does it and then comes to you guys with info? Do you all sit down together and do it? Do you all go off separately and watch different replays? Like, what's the play?
I think Atomic likes watching on his own, but whenever we want a replay review, we kind of just all hop in a Discord together, or at LAN it works really well. I think a lot of teams have found out. But literally what we do is just kind of look at the team, look at the goals they're scoring, they're conceding, and we kind of just like nitpick things and just kind of, you know, take it back with us and say, when we're playing our playstyle, maybe let's do a little bit of less of this and do a little bit more of this, because, you know, maybe a team's more aggressive, so we should be a little bit, you know, let them over aggress and give us a free net, or maybe we should bump more because they're super passive. So we're not trying to like create a playstyle in that moment to counter them. We're just trying to add and note little things in our head that will help us have more success versus that specific.
Yeah. I think that's the difference, right? Is that like sometimes I've made the mistake of like I know on Dig I felt like we kind of overanalyzed sometimes at Worlds. So like we would almost like we should have picked one thing or like a couple things to add into the play style to do it, to beat a different team. And that's what we do on this team, right? We don't really change the fundamentals of how we play, but you know, against FaZe we'll do something different than against than against Space Station. And it's just because different things, like one thing will work and one thing won't. And it's like if you add a couple things, that's good. But I think some teams overdo it, and that's why they'll see success with not thinking as much, because especially these highly mechanical teams like Moist or Team Queso, they were pure mechanics, right? I feel like, and that's why it kind of worked for them, because they needed to be like free flowing.
It's almost like the reason we talk about like the timeout buff, why it was always working for teams is probably because the other teams are like, oh my god, they've called a timeout. They're going to be doing this, and this. We need to like counter strat and do.
Whereas actually they're just off on a toilet break or something. They're like,
not doing
I need a minute. Like
Yeah.
they're not even doing anything different strategically, but you overthink like what they're gonna do. I totally agree.
Well, do you guys, for like replay reviews in general, do you think it's more so like you get more information about what you guys are doing wrong, or is it more so what the other team is doing that you can take advantage of? Like, are you viewing your own replays or other teams?
Well, I think like you can see what you're doing wrong if you're viewing your own replays, but most of the time before a tournament, you're probably reviewing the other team, so you're more looking for what they could be exploited for. So it's like completely two different sides. Because when you're reviewing your own, you should be like seeing what you can do better, but when you're reviewing another team, it's just what you can take out of their gameplay.
Right. So how do you pick and choose whether you're going to review your own or review another team's?
Oh, well, if we're playing like ass, we'll review ourselves and see what we're doing terribly. But if we felt like we're playing decent, then we could just view the other team and see what they do, and just continue from the previous day what we were doing, and add in whatever the other team was doing wrong, or we feel like we could do better.
Here's what I want to know. You've had 2 top 4s, Cargo, and then a 9 and 12. You've made the major, 5th spot. What is going to change here at the major? What are you, I guess, what's the team thinking going into it? Is it, you think you can still win the major, or is it you're not coming in as hot as before? What's the mindset now?
I mean, I don't know how I don't know how everyone like the community or other teams think, but I think we think we're the underdog because like we had a terrible split. I think people probably thinks we're falling off. I'm gonna be honest, we were like pretty terrible. I think all of us would say like we should have had a better split. I mean, we made it top 4, but both matches we were not who we normally are, and I think that there's no way we'll like allow ourselves to go into Rotterdam playing how we were. So whether it's like a boot camp or just like the next upcoming weeks, like there's no physical way I could see ourselves not putting the effort and the time in and out of the like game, whether it's scrims or just playing on our own, to become the team that we usually are. So I really don't like, I'm not really too worried. And then just because of that, I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. And if teams want to look at us like we're not the same team or we're washed, then I think it's just going to be maybe even easier because they won't put up their best effort. But I really don't see a world where we kind of don't perform to our peak, just because I think we do get better and we get more intense and more serious towards LAN. And when that happens and everyone's in it together, we usually just all become a better version of ourselves and make each other better.
So do you think you guys this season, at least online, have dropped off a bit, or you think like there's, Gen G are coming in? Do you think FaZe, they picked up a new lineup, they've improved? Do you think like the rest of the regions improved and gone past, or you think it's more you guys have regressed a little bit from Worlds?
I think it's both. Like I think we're not the same team that we could be, but I also don't think we matched the new team's hunger, like FaZe, Gen G, and Space Station. Like they just cleared us. Like there's no other reason. Like you can't say, oh, we got unlucky. I mean, we just got diffed when it came to online. Like we weren't as good as them, to be honest. But
online. So you're saying it's online diff, actually.
Well, I don't know because we haven't had the LAN yet with these teams.
Yeah,
so...
but on LAN we'll see. Maybe the online. Maybe then it'll be online diff if you outperform all those teams on LAN.
Yeah, I mean, it could be if we look like 3 months from now. But I always said when it came to majors, like I said in London, it didn't really work out too well. But we got first for a second, and no one cared at that major that we did that well in our regionals because at the major that doesn't matter. So again, we think that just making the majors our main goal, and as stressful as it was, we did it, and that's behind us now, so we can improve. And I don't think like teams are going to think of who won the regionals and be afraid of them. They'll probably be most informed, but I think once you get to the major, your team either ascends or kind of does the opposite, and I think we'll most likely only get better from where we've been, which has been pretty rough recently.
That's good news for all the G2 fans. I know they're all hoping that we can see a return.
Yeah, or we
to
can
the
fall off a
G2
cliff.
winter farm. Or don't say that. See that you're just ruining all the hope you gave them. Like just undone in 3 simple words.
You had a very inspirational message, and it was just gone.
Yeah, or we could just not do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
we
take
suck.
that back. Well,
Do you guys
can't-
feel like this season we talk about like how you didn't have much of an off season going into Rotterdam now? You boys were both at Worlds. Like, do you feel like it's I guess Jack's a bit different because you got a new team, but do you feel like it's a new season or it's kind of like we're here again, another event running around?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely a new season, obviously, because it's like moving region and a new team. But yeah, for me, it is. But like, I will say that it's a copy paste. Like, it's a copy paste of last season. I keep saying that every day, it seems, but I don't know how people are like. When I said it on Twitter, people would call me like ungrateful. I was like, no, it's literally just a Control C, Control V.
Yeah.
Of Valve 21-22, but that's another topic.
Well, it doesn't seem to have affected you at least too much. At least if the RLCS format copy pasted, you definitely went the opposite way of copy pasting for your team region. Like you're like, oh well, this is so similar. I need to change something up, and
yeah,
you did it pretty much to the maximum there that you could have.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about the other teams? We talked a lot about G2. Well, we're not actually talking too much, but we talked a little bit about G2, Gen G. You mentioned that their phase and SSG made changes. They seem to have worked out. Well, I think. How well have they worked out? Because going into the season, I think a lot of people were just putting them both top 3, like guaranteed. I heard most people's top 3s that I heard for NA were G2 SSG phase. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe that's just what
perhaps
I was hearing.
Furia, snuck in as well.
Well, yeah, Furia was like some people put them really high, some people didn't. I felt like a lot.
It was around the 2nd to 4 range, the 2nd to 5th, I think. But it wasn't first. But I don't think it was any lower than 5. It couldn't have been.
But okay, let's start with FaZe. You guys think FaZe have been success stories so far? Or do you think that winning once and then not winning again is actually a disappointment? Like, I think it might be a disappointment for a lot of people. Because this is what they did last season. Like carbon copy.
No,
first regional, then.
Well,
no, they got 9th and 12th.
Oh well, yeah, 9th, 12th compared to
they lost to
they
lost to the first team twice in playoffs, and they looked really good in Swiss. Like I never played against any phase actually, apart from this phase. I've never played against any of them on LAN, so it's like I can't speak to how good they were, but from watching, they look better. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the miss move was more for LAN, to be honest. I think online with First Killer, like it used to be Justin. He's a cheat code. Like he won't miss a LAN. So like he can online, he'll be fine. But I think on LAN to take that next step, I feel like that's why they wanted missed. I mean we haven't seen it yet, but I feel like they'll be a lot better on LAN than what they were with AJ.
That's interesting. What about compared to they got a top 4 last season in fall with Illusion. Do you think that's possible again? Here?
Like a top 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think most people
I think
would
it's
say
harder
yes, really.
for sure than it was last season. But I don't know. I think they have a chance. I don't know. It's like they have a 50% chance of getting top 4 or 20. It's just
it's tough. It's stacked. It's definitely stacked for sure.
I can't read
FaZe look good. I think the team that I think the team that is a talking point right now is SSG. Now, they're making top fours. They're clearing out of Swiss. But did you guys see Arsenal's tweet after they made the major?
Oh,
This
I
guy
wanted to
tweeted.
read that out too.
Nonsense.
Do
Somebody read
you have it up?
read
Because
out.
I have it up.
Yeah, you can read it.
All right, it says, or he said after they lost, he said, I honestly think I would have rather won a regional and then got 9th through 12th twice and missed out on the major. Like rather than this result.
The missed out on the major part is part. I'm like, no, you wouldn't.
There's no way
shot.
you would rather miss out on the major.
Yeah.
Like, why would you rather win why would you rather win a regional than like go to the major? I feel like like going to the major itself, unless you just get like dead last, is so much more enjoyable. I feel like that's what every player competes for, is to make the majors.
I feel like he's either just like farming impressions, or he just hasn't like properly thought about. I mean, he should be able to just remember like how devastating it was to not make fall major last season. Maybe he just doesn't think about that. But surely, missing major's got to be worse.
I kind of have like a funny story, and I think Arsenal is just like the most emotional player. Like after an event, good or bad, I feel like Arsenal's like half my timeline of just like random thoughts. But like in this Discord where he hangs out with like a lot of other pros, like they like this was after Genji kind of just ran through NA this weekend. But Arsenal was typing like, what do I have to do to win one? And then he was like Daniel and First Care, like, what do I have to do? And I'm sure Torment like would be fine with me saying this, but he's like, Torment won a regional. What do I have to do? And then like a couple minutes later, Torment was like, why am I catching strays? And then he, in the like Discord thing where you can reply, he did an asterisk and he did 2 regionals because Arsenal hasn't won a regional since Torment 2.
Yeah,
but Arsenal's just a troll.
What are you gonna do? I don't know. Is winning a region? I mean, Jack, you said it's a pretty big deal. You're already qualified, and you wanted to win the regional that badly. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how people can be like happy with like some players are literally just happy if they make the major. They don't care about how the last regional goes. Like, I genuinely really want to win every single tournament, and that's not like a. It's not like look at I just want to win every single tournament. I don't know. It just feels good to win a tournament, you know.
Yeah, contract negotiations coming up. He just noticed his manager in the chat. He's like, I better say this say this right thing at the right time.
Bonuses. I mean, when you look at the majors, like every team that's this is we don't have much of a case or a sample size, but every team that at least won a major, has won a regional. Like Space Station still, like Daniel still hasn't won a regional. And this team now, I feel like dominating Swiss, or like the Swiss look so comfortable, but I haven't seen them like play well like once on Champ Sunday when they've got into it. So I don't know. I'm worried about Space Station in terms of that. Like I know Arsenal tweeting that could be like a bit of a joke, but I just worry about like their just mental. And I can't see them making like a top 2 or something in the major based on what they're doing right now. They're sort of like the team that like could. Where do they qualify? Are they 4th or 3rd now in the rankings?
4th?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, V1 got 3rd because they won a regional, which gives 1 more point than the rest of the playoffs, like advancements does.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I expected three top 4s to do at least 3rd in a split, but it really did 4th. But yeah,
they stacked the points
they play Falcons, right?
Sorry.
Space Station they play Falcons the first round.
Go on, CJ. What are you saying?
Crazy match.
I was going to say, is the team that's going to drop out of the 5 like next? I think it's more likely to be Space Station, and then like a Furia or a Complexity, sort of the teams looking to jump in. I just think like that's a team that I think can drop out of the 5 if there's going to be one.
I don't think so. The reason being is because they look so comfortable in Swiss. So you say it yourself, right?
True.
And there's a team that hasn't looked like incredibly comfortable in Swiss. I think V1 out of the 5.
But if it's not them, if you're picking who's the most likely out of the top 5 to drop out, you're picking V1.
Oh, I've learned from my mistakes of doubting V1. I've never.
No, come on, like the thing is, if I doubt G2, I'm gonna get all the these stands. If I doubt myself, unconfident. If I doubt FaZe, then I'm gonna get that's first kill on team. Space, I've got to doubt someone. You know what I mean? Like V1, like they look like they don't look great in Swiss, and people go, you don't look great in Swiss. I'm like, well, we had one bad Swiss. They were
bad though. Come on, it was really bad. It was.
Did we make it through, Johnny?
It was extremely bad, Jack.
make it through,
it was
Johnny.
very
Wait,
bad.
wait. Even you're saying that yourself. Didn't we make it through? But like you literally said you had one bad split. Like you yourself would think it was bad too. You went 3-2.
Oh yeah, it was bad. But
It was
it's
bad.
Not, it's not 3.
Yeah, I mean,
It was-
you made it out.
was
I
fine.
guess.
You did make it. Yeah, you did make it. But yeah, like I mean, Swiss is gone after this split. It'll be like the groups into is it still double elimination? No, is it single this time? I can't remember. For some reason I've forgotten. But yeah, it's a better groups format. Last time I know that I think it's better, whatever it is, than last season. That's all I remember. But V1 have just been, I don't know, they've been consistent. They've had the same roster last season, end of last season, started this one. They're still putting up similar results, like top 3 NA. I've got to back them to keep doing that over SSG, who I think have made a sideways move and seen very sideways results, like similar to what they had with the old roster. And
Wait,
they wanted better, surely.
you think Reddles for LJ? Is it a sideways
Yeah, I think it's a
move?
very sideways move. Like Rettles brings a lot to a team that LJ doesn't. LJ brings a lot to a team that Rettles doesn't. And yeah, you've just like
you don't think
the-
that
you've took one player off the skills, put another on, and the skills have stayed the same.
you
Like,
don't
I
think
it's
that
the same.
they've gotten rid of like an inconsistency there? You don't think LJ
Nah,
brings up their floor?
I think he's more mechanical. I think LJ's more mechanical,
That's-
but I
that's-
think
that's not
Rettles
what- that's
is
not
like
what I mean,
way more
exactly.
big game. I mean, yeah, I think Rettles is better at other things though. Like it's not the mechanics are a huge part of Rocket League, but Rettles is not bad mechanically. I think he's underrated mechanically. People are always like trashing on his mechanics. Like I was casting a 1v1 show match the other day with Rettles, and he scored like a flip reset, and the chat was like question marks, Rettles mechanical. I'm like, are they joking right now? Like this is normal for him. Like what? It's not. He's not a bad mechanical player. He's actually solid, but yeah, he played really well at the World Championship. I thought Rettles was very good, and I don't know if LJ will play well online. He's been pretty invisible in a lot of the big series in the playoffs online, so lands even more pressure. So that's why I say sideways move until I see more. Like until I see a
agree
good
with
land performance.
the land thing because I mean it's a bit of a question mark still.
I still think
Yeah.
he's a better fit for that team with Arsenal. I think Arsenal Reddles is like I think they could on different teams they would be more effective if they
Yeah,
went on the same
that's
team,
possible. That's possible.
I will
It's
say
better
that
fit.
I used to be really, really impressed with Space Station's comms back when they had Rettles. Like when I was watching, especially in, like Season X, their comms, like Season X and Season 21, their like comms videos. I was like, yeah, they look like they have good comms. I'm like, I look at their comms now. It seems like quite, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like overanalyzing, but it seems a bit like messy. But with LJ, they seem to have like I think they're more consistent. But I do agree with Johnny that Rettles is better in some areas, yeah. But as a whole, I think this would be better for the long term of Space Station.
Do you think they have the resilience they had with Rettles? Because I don't. Like, you know, even if they're down 2-0 in a best of 5, 3-0 in a best of 5, they actually had quite a few, I think, reverse sweeps like this time. Or was it? No, it was Optic that did that.
Do I
So,
think they
yeah,
have
it fits
that-
my
what, sorry?
Rettles resilience like narrative that they actually like Optic
Yeah,
are now the
that's one of
reverse
the things
sweep
I think
team.
Rettles is better at, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he has
he
a
just
good
doesn't want to lose.
mentality.
Yeah, they're down 2-0, down 3-0 in a best of 7. They're still not out of the series, so you cannot count that team out. Whereas SSU or Rettles, but now I don't know. I feel like if they go down 3-0 best of 5, 4-0 best of not 4-0, 3-0 best of 7, or 2-0 best of 5 with LJ, I don't see the comeback potential being the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Rettles has one of the better mentalities in the scene for sure.
That's a good segue to Optic. Then you were saying was it Jack? You were saying before the show that Optic are the least like actually no Chicago. You were saying.
Chicago.
You're saying Optic were the least. I'm trying to throw you on the bus. Nah, you're saying Optic were probably you weren't thinking were a contender for the 5th spot going to the regional. Like they said like pretty publicly that you know they want to stick together and to keep improving. Like where do you see Optic Gaming in the future? Reed.
Do I go PR move or honestly?
No,
non-PR.
This is Chalkcast.
No PR, no PR.
I see them doing like the same they did this split. So like maybe a couple top 8s, maybe like a top 8 to 9th through 12s. And again, I think that team is like all in the right mindset to wanting to make majors. So because I probably see like a roster move happening after next split because I think they all are mature enough to try and stick it out and figure it out, get better. But I just think like the top of NA, even with a couple teams outside of the top 5, like I don't see them outclassing like a Furia or like a Cole next split. So I think they just kind of will make a move just mutually to see if they can get better.
I want to ask a question, which I talked about like with my Twitch chat the other day. And has there been any team? I'm not saying whether there has or not, but has there been any team that has improved from as over time from when a team like forms? Has there been a team that they didn't do so well at the start and then improved to start making lands apart from Team Queso? Because that's the only one I can think of, and that was a clear out. Like I said, I don't think that'll happen again.
Whether you mean without a roster change,
without a roster change, yeah, without a roster change,
something change, yeah.
And people say version 1, but didn't they pick up beast mode and then make the major?
Yeah.
So I don't think many teams improve from what you first see from a team, like when they first form, like from in their first split.
Liquid.
point.
Somebody said Liquid. They actually started off really bad. They didn't even qualify.
Yeah,
right?
but hang on. When I
that was very short.
I'm saying a split. I'm saying a split, and they had one regional. So if we're saying one regional and then the first two, they still improved. Oh, shut up.
Now, a whole split, I can see what you mean.
A whole bad split into a good second split. Is that what you mean?
It doesn't even have to be bad. I think. Are you just saying like a below expectations split? Is that what you're talking about? Like just a below expectation split? Can you go from that to then
what I mean is that I don't see a team like if they don't like show glimpses of like having good performances or being able to make the major in their first split. I don't think they'll improve to make the major in other splits if they don't make a change.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good point. What Gyro just said in chat. He just said most teams make changes quickly after bad results, which is true.
Yeah,
I think most teams in Optic spot would make a switch, like 85% of them. But I just think the fact is, like AJ and Reddles both got kicked, and Magic Bear's kind of a new gun. So like when two players just get kicked like that, I don't think they want to kick someone again. Like they know the pain of it or like the struggles of it, so they don't want to immediately boot someone again. So I think they're gonna stick.
Mm-hmm. I know, Reddles as well talks a lot about how volatile being a pro player is. So I think if they have an org that's backing them and stuff, I think the only reason they make a change if they had pressure from the org to be like, hey guys, this isn't good enough, like make a move. But it seems like they're backing them in. But I mean, that's a good point. If you it feels like Jack teams that form, you have to show something. Usually the new teams, they don't just get better. Like you should at least show something. You have like this one result, or you're beating a team to at least know. You can still be inconsistent, but you still have shown something where you can you can see where your ceiling is, rather than being like you're already here and you're trying to work your way up. I kind of agree with that. I guess with Optic, they're sort of this whole split. They've just beaten teams around them, but they haven't had that one result where they've just swept a phase or something and just shown. They've clearly been below everyone else. Even they haven't just had a one really good day. They've just sort of just been around the mark.
They came close to beating. Yeah, and no one seems to agree with that point. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's like you said, teams do change very quick. But I think there's something to it. Teams don't really improve that much over time from what you first see at them when they form. I don't think anyway. But yeah, I mean, they came close to beating FaZe, I think, in a game 5 overtime this Swiss stage. But I agree with Chicago. I don't know if I don't think they'll make a major with this current roster.
That's interesting.
I know, personally, all the teams I've been on, in the first couple of events, we've at least done something where it's you. And also, it's you're immediately sick, but you're just there's still that you're okay, I see where we can get to. So it'll be harder to not have that and then still stick together, just being nah, we'll get good.
Yeah, I also don't I don't get the narrative with Magic Bear either. The whole he needs time to be on the top team. Didn't they get a couple top 8 results? Hasn't he had a couple top 8 results? He's been around for a while. I don't know. I don't.
I think the main thing with Magic Bear was that he basically boosted his team up, and so now that he's surrounded by 2 proven players, that should be a top team. I think that's mainly the narrative around him. So
but people are going
no, I'm with you. I don't know why they say he needs time because now that he's with the 2 players, I mean, a lot of times people will just formulate any kind of copium excuse that they can. A lot of I just feel like it kind of happens a lot. Like Magic Bear's an example, and I feel like a lot of times they'll always just say, "Oh yeah," like I mean, especially if it's your team. Oh yeah, give them time. You know, they're gonna
give him time.
Yeah, give him time.
He's been there. He's been there. Like, what's the time? I also think he's getting a bit singled out. I don't like the. I don't know.
Well,
I feel like
that's the thing. He's getting singled out because he's had 2 proven
he's
players.
He's getting so singled. I would hate being him. That's all I'll say.
Your team is a perfect example of this. Tell me if you guys didn't perform as well as you did, Chronic wouldn't be getting a ton of shit.
Wait, what's the point though? What's your point?
My point is that he's with 2 proven players. And so, like, that's why Magic Bear is getting flack. But your team would be the exact same situation if you weren't getting the results.
No, but he's not getting flack.
People are going because you're winning.
No. Magic Bear's not getting
Magic
flack.
Bear's not getting flack.
Because people are going,
saying give him time.
They still need time. You know, they've got an unproven player. But I'm like, they haven't got an unproven player. Like, Magic Bear's been an RCS player, like, getting a few top 8s since RCSX, right? Like, I don't know. I think he's getting like singled out. I would hate being him on this roster. I think my mentality would be choked if I was Magic Bear on this roster. But
if you're hearing people say that Magic Bear just needs another result, and it's like, why do people think it's because I feel like
it's Rettles and AJ and Magic Bear.
Yeah, it's Optic. It's Optic plus Magic Bear.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, they're never going to agree with that, and I could be wrong. I don't know what goes inside a team, but it just, I don't know.
I mean, from my perspective, I feel the same way. Like, it does kind of seem like that from everything
I've
heard.
Even from, yeah, go on, Chicago.
I just don't think they use Magic Bear properly. Like, I think, like, the way Chronic's involved is, like, Chronic has a chance to show what he can do. But Magic Bear, like, whenever we play them, it feels like he's kind of forced into playing, like, a support role where he's not allowed to, like, have, you know,
time on the ball.
Yeah, like, the freedom to do whatever he wants. But, like, the best we've ever played, they've ever been, has been when Magic Bear's, like, doing most of the heavy lifting. And I think the problem is, like, they haven't been doing that. So they need to figure out, like, how to get AJ and Magic Bear to be, like, a force together. Because it can't be one or the other, because it's not like they have a first killer and Typical behind them where it's just enough firepower. So they need multiple people.
They're all very aggressive players.
It feels like they don't click right now.
Magic Bear, boy, I can tell you all day about my boy Magic Bear in streams. This kid is an absolute genuine freak show in stream. And I feel like it's because he's so... Don't laugh at me. I'm telling you, this kid's a freak. Now, Magic in scrims, I feel like he's the go-to man. He's like a give-me-the-ball kind of player. Problem is, AJ's also that kind of player, which is probably why they didn't work out as well on phase. Well, you know, worked out, but that's why they've got missed. But I feel like the reason why you're saying, Jack, about the you know, it's the AJ and Riddle show is because I feel like he's being left on an island a lot of the time, third man. Like, the boys are going forward, and then it's like Magic bail us out. And then you're seeing him, like, backflip in net and do some awkward things third man. I don't think he likes being that third man position, which I feel like that's kind of what he's drawn into right now. It's like the 2 up, 1 back sort of play style. But if they just let him do his thing up front and then be like, okay, let's let this kid shine. I just don't think they're letting him, like, shine, like you said. Like, but when he's on the other teams and he's the solo carry, that's where he's comfortable, because he's like, give me the ball, and he's got 2 guys supporting him. But right now it feels like he's the supporting cast to the AJ and Riddles.
Yeah, like, offense. To be honest, like, I'm probably wrong. Like, if Riddles or AJ are probably watching this, you're probably like, gosh, Chicago's a dumbass. But, like, talking about another team. But, like, to be honest, what I see from that team is, like, Riddles is trying to be the same aggro man, bumping and creating space, but Daniel and Magic are not the same player. Like, Daniel's a very, like, get the ball to Daniel, he'll be the third man, and then he'll air dribble and, like, get 2 beats. Like, I think Magic Bear is better when he has maybe a little bit more pace, and, you know, maybe he can create more, like, not just straight air dribble, but just get, like, faster beats that creates a shooting opportunity.
Right.
So I think, like, Riddles is still, like, trying to be that first man, opening up space, when he might need to be more of, like, either a second man or more of, like, even a third man, which, like, and just let his teammates try and create opportunities for him instead of him creating space where they get, like, a 1v2 air dribble. Because, again, like, Magic Bear is not Daniel. Who's screaming? Jesus.
That was Athena. I think she's playing Overwatch.
Okay. Like, whenever we scrimmed Sonics a couple of times, like, in must have been LA boot camp. I don't think we streamed them for like before Worlds, but when with old Magic Bear, and he was just front man and just like always like up in your face, just hitting 8 flip resets, and like he was just like the first man doing everything. But I'm not seeing him doing that with Optic. Whether that's again like as they're kind of trying to say is sorry, did I say Sonics? I mean Tyrant. Tyrant. And he like it feels like on an Optic, like they're saying, "Oh, we'll just give him time to do his thing," but they're not really just letting him do whatever he wants to do and push up forward, which is probably why he's being a bit more uncomfortable,
right?
And not feeling like the team, because I don't think he has that comfort factor of just like they should just let him do what he wants. Like he's got the mech.
They should go full Spanish Bim Bam. That's the Optic playstyle because Aretals maybe wants to keep doing his like first man thing, which is fine. But yeah, they should just all have a full first man. Like as long as they're all on the same page, it can work. Like I think it's Spanish Bim Bam. Just go like full aggro. So everybody in the team can if they know they're gonna. I feel like it can work as long as you know that your teammate in front of you is gonna turn every time he can.
I don't think it's sustainable.
You're not gonna play badly.
I don't think it's Bim Bam though. I just think it's Magic Bear just having to just let him off the leash a little bit. I feel like he's just like he's on the chain right now and he's struggling.
Like again, like Chicago said, it's like I bet Rattles and AJ listen. It's like you're inferring things about their team environment and stuff like that you would never know about. From what it seems to me, though, it's like. Whenever Magic makes a mistake, it's like, don't worry, Magic, it's okay. Like we know that you're probably gonna make these mistakes sometimes, but it's okay. Like don't like
you're new. It's fine.
Like, your confidence, don't let it get shattered. Like you've got next one. I feel like once you put a player in that position where it's
like they're babying him in a way.
I genuinely again. I know
is this like a comms
like
video
everything his fault.
I think I don't know if Jack's talking about the specific, but I've heard like. Them get scored on in a Reynolds comms video, and Reynolds immediately sounds like because they're playing at a boot camp.
Yeah,
he like turns to Magic and goes, "Do not lose confidence. Do not lose confidence." So, and it's like it was kind of like it's like I understand the idea. It seems like a good
it's not. I don't think it's the right way to go about it.
No, it's kind of like if I was Magic, I'd be like,
if I said the exact same thing. If I was Magic, my confidence would be shattered. Like genuinely, it would be gone.
Because you think your teammate's seen something that they think would make you lose confidence, therefore. Your confidence is in the bin.
But also, when you just focus on one person, it makes the other two seem like they never make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Like, and any mistake that happens is your own fault. But like, they're trying to do it in a good way.
I'm about to loop back to the prehistoric era here. When I was on Take 3 with Zane Jackie and Insol, all Insol would ever do, I would literally whiff a ball. And Insolence would just be like, Zane, like, man, it's like it's like he would always like baby Zane in a way, but like me, I was perfect. And like I recognized it too. Like I was like, this is weird. Like it was clearly my fault.
And that's what I mean. That's why I think I would hate this is why I said earlier about 10 minutes ago, like I would hate to be Magic Bear right now. Just with everything coming at me. I don't know. Again, I could be like inferring wrong things, but from an outside perspective, that's what it seems.
So that's Optic. Nobody thinks they're going to be a major. Well, Jack, you said you don't think they're making a major. I wouldn't be willing to bet on them making a major either. It's partly due to there just being so many good teams that I think are more likely to get a major than them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're making a major either.
And also that I mean, every team that has a big fan base, the fan base is horrible. But like me and Nolly predicted them to get 9th and 12th this regional, and my comments were filled with like, "Oh, I can't believe you would ever say." Like, I'm like, relax, they got 9th and 12th. Like that happened.
Relax, you know I mean, right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
it's tough. So that's okay. Optic. What about Furia? Chicago said earlier that Furia as a team he's mostly got his eyes on behind him, or 1 point back in the standings going into this regional. Where do Furia go from here? Well, actually, I think I was talking to their manager. I think they're already going back to Brazil for Christmas. But I mean, longer term than that, where are they going to go from here? Is it just a small blip, and now it's going to be back to top 4, top 5 team in the world? Multiple LAN events in a row, or is the online qualification going to be a problem for them? Consistent problem. Obviously, it was a problem this split.
I don't think they'll be a top 5 team in the world like after the next split. But again, like if a team falls out, like literally any team from the top 5 isn't putting in like the effort or the work to start off next split well, I could see Furia like just coming in and kind of taking that spot, like plugging that hole. Because I don't think it's very likely. Like you see the same top 5 teams every split or every major for NA. So I just see like Furia probably plugging a hole of a team that maybe doesn't do too hot to start off the split next season.
Yeah, I don't actually. They're my one team where I'm like, what actually happened? Because, like, even to this day, I look at Jan in rank twos, and he's still like the greatest player in the world in rank twos. And I look at Card, and I see that he's improved so much mechanically over this off season. Like, he's had a few like one show matches, and I don't know if you've cast him, Johnny, but he's like,
no, he's crazy. Absolutely,
his mechanics
crazy.
have improved so much this off season. And
yeah,
then I look at
somebody was like. Sorry to interrupt, but like to talk about one stuff. Oh, have we lost someone? Oh,
CJ.
Oh, CJ. Okay. I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, to talk about one show match to Jack. Have you noticed that, or did anyone ask when you watched him? I don't know if you watched him on your stream. People are my chat saying, "Oh, did he give Yan the controller?" But it's so clear.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump in and ask, like, have you played him? And isn't it just like a totally different mechanics than Yan? Where Yan looks like chaos, and Card is just like Mr. Precision. Like, I don't know how he did it, but he's just like
he's just improved
he's
a lot
so
mechanically.
precise.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
And then I look at them in ones and twos, and I think that, and I look at them in threes, whether that's scrims or tournament. I'm like, I don't see anything. Like I don't know. For me, because there's a lot of talk about like our top 5 NA players are split, top 10 NA players are split, and people are still putting, you know, any of the 3 in their top 5, and I'm like, I don't think we've watched the same games. Like,
yeah, definitely not for this split. No, you wouldn't put Yan top 5 off this split alone. But depending like how much I mean, depending on how much you like weigh, you know, Worlds.
Right,
GA,
but we're saying this
London.
split, right? Like,
yeah, this split, no way is he top 5. But like, is he still top 5 NA? Like overall, possibly, because he was, I'd say, the best in NA. Like going into this split, that's just my opinion. I know some people had beast mode, some people had first killer, but I would have said Yan as the best NA.
Yeah, and
because of lands.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm like, that's where I'm confused, because for me they haven't looked all that in threes, and I don't think Kaio's had a good split. Like, not at all. Like, I swear, I must be a curse, or it must be happening every series. But every series I watch it, there, it's like a horrible own goal, and I've own goaled a few times, but it's like own goals in like, well, you're not recovering from that. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's been some pretty crazy stuff going on with that team for some reason. I don't know. I don't know. It's been a bit of a shock, that team, for me. I did predict before the split started that I don't think they would do as well. I said that I think they might miss out on the major, but I've not been impressed with any of the players. Like, I looked at the stats for our game against them, and Card had an average boost used of 200 a minute, whereas like the average is usually like 400, and he picked up like half the pads of anyone else, which means he just wasn't going for the ball. So I don't get what's going on with that team.
I wonder if they had like too high expectations going in, and then when things didn't go the way they thought, they're like, oh no, something's wrong, we need to massively switch things up, and then they just weren't themselves anymore, because
I just feel like they started so slow. They didn't come over for a while, and their regional one, like they started, they get top 8s at 5 to 8 regional one, maybe.
They got 5 to 8.
I just think they left themselves with too much to do by the end of it. Like, it just.
I think they threw regional 2. They definitely threw varsity V1 in regional 2, which was
the thing is that these teams are still close. Like, I'm saying that I don't think Optic are going to make a major, and I don't think, you know, Furia have looked good at all. But like, they were still in regional 2. Don't forget, like, both these teams were one game or one goal away from making the top 4, and that could have changed the entire split, right, and the entire season even. So it's like they could. They could they could change, but I've not been impressed. It doesn't change that. Like, you know what I mean?
Turbo says Jan spent way too much time flirting with a woman at the beach. I'm not sure if there's any evidence to back up this accusation, this vicious accusation.
Turbo was Turbo was the woman at the beach. I think it's...
Wait, are they are they in the same
where are
area?
they even
That's pretty
located?
cool. Yeah, where are they?
They're in Florida. aren't
Yeah,
They're in Florida.
they? Yeah.
Like
Interesting.
Miami.
Miami.
Ah, that
Yeah.
adds up.
Well, they're
Is,
spending too
is
much
Turbo
time
in Florida as
recreation.
well?
No, I've
Turbo's
seen Turbo
in,
at the beach there.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
It's
maybe
that
too
pasty
many
white
beach
skin.
days according to Turbo, but we'll see if they can cut down on those and improve for the next split.
do you think they stick with the same roster, or do you reckon they make a change? Do you reckon Optic makes a change?
Oh, Optic.
Optic,
Both Optic or Furia.
Oh,
Nah.
Furia, surely they have to stick. I mean, how? Well, I mean, if they could bring in Lost, sure, why not? Like, Lost is he's incredible. Not sure if any of you have watched like the South American
he's
regionals.
crazy.
Lost. I mean, I had him in my had him in my top 25 before Worlds last
Weird
season.
flex.
Yep, just saying. Thought I'd mention because I was on the Lost hype train. I was early. I mean, he's ridiculous. He's been insane for a while now, and yeah, he's probably best in Sam right now. So yeah. Maybe bring in Lost. I don't know like what that looks like with like visas and
They don't
moving.
change. Like, it's
I
not
don't think
like
they changed
online in.
nowadays.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
don't think they
online in
changed.
South America. They were crazy. Like they were still rough.
Yeah,
like,
they
were
weren't,
dropping
yeah.
random series. The problem is
They were
they come
Sam
to North
2
America.
for the winter. They were Sam
Exactly.
2 for winter.
They come
major.
over to NA and they're doing the same thing. They're just having a couple. They started a little bit slow and they leave themselves with so much to do that they had to like get a top 2 or win a regional to do it. And it's so hard to do that. Like Space Station is still not able to win a regional for 2 years. So like it's not. It's I don't think they're performing any worse. I don't think they even look any worse than what they've been doing online or what they've been doing at Worlds on the majors. I just think that they've come to a harder region and they're performing the same as they did in Sam online, where it's just not quite as consistent. And yeah, it's so hard as Cargo would know to get top 5. He was kicking and scratching for the last regional. So
Yeah, it was brutal out here.
it's brutal.
Yeah, it got a lot harder. I mean, it was literally like the top teams in NA all some of them shuffled rosters around, but they're all still really really good. And then you bring in Genji and Furia, and complexity I'd say improved. So there's just like 3 additional contenders in a team in a region that already had like 6, I'd say, and now it's like 9, unless you count Shopify 10. So yeah, it's a much harder region than last season where you had 6 teams fighting for 5 spots at the end of the year, compared to now where it's like 9, maybe 10. Crazy. A lot more pressure if you have a bad regional in the first event.
Kago, how did you feel about going into the complexity quarterfinals match? Because that one had like a big implication of like, what was it? Just like whoever won made it, or did complexity have to win another round?
Basically, I think if complexity would have won the semis, I think they would have
Yeah, made
took the
it.
spot, and I think that would have been like likely because if they beat us, I think they're like a super momentum based team. So I don't see like why they couldn't beat V1 or Genji, I think it was in the semi. So like I was honestly just kind of
Gen.G would save you. Gen.G
I
would
wouldn't
save
be
you.
in
well,
GG.
they
They'd
would
give you
have
the tiebreaker. They'd
Yeah,
give you the
that-
tiebreaker,
yeah.
then we'd imagine like tiebreaker end of day, just like after the grand final, boom, tiebreaker, complexity versus G2.
Oh yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
was.
Go
Yeah,
again.
if they lost to Genji, then you would have had the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
would have
well,
a
like-
tiebreaker.
In the like after seeing getting forward by Genji, yeah, they wouldn't have stood a chance. But
Yeah,
like,
we-
in the
we would-
moment,
we
like
would've
the day
destroyed
before, I
them.
was like, I mean, just you're thinking of like every scenario, like okay, if we don't win, what could happen? Okay, they could play V1. Do they do like V1? Okay,
Yeah,
they
you've
play
got to
Genji.
think of it like must win, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
so,
we
like-
can't risk too much risk. Yeah, they can
Yeah.
beat anyone. They're good enough to beat anyone, but yeah.
Well, our Swiss day was pretty good, and we watched like complexities matches, and they were playing well, but I think we were confident from the day before. So I think we knew we kind of in the back of our mind. Obviously, we weren't like cocky about it, but we knew we could win it pretty smoothly.
So let's use that example. Say you did lose to complexity in quarters, and then they ended up losing in semis to Genji, and then you would have to play in a tiebreaker immediately after the grand final. Do you think that's like? Would you rather play after the grand finals or like 3 days ahead? Like what's the idea
Well-
there? What's your preference?
For us, it would have been an advantage because we would have not played Sunday where they already would have lost. So I think that's different. But like the Sam tiebreaker was honestly, like in my opinion, pretty unfair to Crew.
Yeah.
Because they had to win the grand finals, they didn't win the grand finals, and then so they're already coming off a loss, and now they have to play Secret, who's preying on their downfall the previous hour, and they're absolutely hyped up when they see them lose the grand finals. So they're coming in at like jacked up, and immediately after, I just felt like that was kind of unfair to Crew. But I do think Secret probably wins that match anyway.
Yeah, they've been winning that. I mean, Crew haven't been as good against the very top teams, so they're favored. But in case anyone's not entirely sure what we're referring to here, last season the tiebreakers were played on a separate day. So if there's a tie with Complexity Space Station in the fall, it's played on its own day. Like RLCS goes live, and that's the show. It's just one game, right? That was it. I think one series. That was it. Super hype. And then this season they decided to do it after the grand final of the event, the final event of the split. So it happened in SAM. The team who just lost the grand final, like Chicago mentioned, had to play the tiebreaker for the major spot immediately after losing, and they got destroyed. So, I mean, I think it wouldn't be controversial to say that we all preferred the old one. I think everybody prefers the old way. But one, because it's just more exciting to have it as its own show and its own separate day. Just another, like, I don't know. It's a cool content piece from like a casual viewer standpoint, just different than a usual show. But definitely in like the sense of like what's more fair on the players, 100%. Like way more fair
I
to
think
do a different day.
I think with the hype and the content like standpoint, like it would be better if it was a few days after. Like
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do you remember? Oh right, I thought you were.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I thought you were advocating for it being on the same day.
No. I think it's way cooler if it's a different day. Cause, like,
I don't know what
right now
Science have
RLCS
done.
like regional is like on one day, and then now we've got a tiebreaker on a different day. It's like two very different things.
I agree. I think it was a horrible decision. I mean, like, do you remember how hype it was on the? I think it was like a week. I think it was like a week, or it was like 3 days of like getting ready to watch Space Station versus Complexity.
Yeah, there's all the tweets oh man,
like it was crazy. And then Sonic's thought it was a good idea to, I don't know. It was a silly decision on their part.
Yeah, the Space Station Complexity series was so hype. I think it was like logistics issues. It wasn't like a decision that, like,
but
I feel like if they could
Complexity
choose...
thing happened and it went exactly as it did after the regional, I reckon so many people would be like, this is ridiculous. Like, how are they forced to play right after? And like, it would take away from Complexity. Like Complexity, they gained so many fans from that because they straight up just beat them. They were just better at Rocket League when it mattered, and they beat them at the game. But if they've like played them after the regional last season, I think everybody would be like, this is insane. SSG lost today, and now they have to, or this weekend, now they have to play again, and it would have taken away from.
Oh, you're providing some
achievement.
copium, so it's not as big of an achievement.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been like. I think it was a bigger achievement the way they did it, like on its own day.
Previous.
The previous style. Whereas if they'd done the Complexity SSG thing, the way they did it this season, people would have been coping hardcore for SSG's loss.
Yeah. If it was a logistics thing, I think like a community streamer would have been capable of streaming it.
Yeah, I feel like there's some streamers who would have jumped at that opportunity. I can't think of anyone like names off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's some out there.
But I think somebody would like to host that, maybe with drops enabled or something that.
Yeah, like maybe with the esports button, I could see some people being interested in doing that. Like,
I mean, it's a LAN qualification match, so they might as well hype it up and like tweet it out too.
Yeah, I think they might as well like make a like YouTube feature or video about it where you can watch it and stuff. Like, yeah, maybe next time that's interesting that you bring that up. I think that we can maybe maybe find a streamer who would be willing to do that.
Yeah, I think Fear might be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing will change. It's who we kidding? It won't change.
I wanted to loop this way back to the beginning of the stream because we were talking about roster changes and greener pastures and stuff like that. And how we were saying how, or Jack was specifically saying how, like, if you're with a team for a long time, like the motivation kind of goes away because it's the same play style, all that stuff. NRG specifically, I'm just going to get right to it. NRG specifically has been a team for a very long time, and a lot of people are kind of like calling for their heads, basically, like at this point, for like a roster change. And I guess the question is simple. Do you guys think they should make a roster change?
Yes.
Months ago. I don't know why it's still not being just automatically done. Like, I think all the players would benefit from one.
Yeah, and I don't think they will.
You don't think they
Mentally and
will?
in the game.
No, I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either.
No, I don't think they will.
Oh,
There's
my
I think
Wait,
God.
right now they're so like they've committed. You know, like the I don't know why I can't think of this phrase right now. Sunken cost fallacy. NRG have like sunk so much time into proving everybody that they're not like done as a trio, as a roster.
Yeah,
that now
yeah,
they
they
just have to keep doing it.
Their
To
egos
prove.
are holding on.
They're like, eventually we're gonna be good again, and then we'll be like, see, told you sticking together was the right idea. So that's where they're gonna stick. So,
They're in for the
sunk
long
cost
haul.
fallacy.
They should do a full disband. Full disband. None of the team plays with one another.
Blow it
but
up.
then none of them keep their points.
Who cares? Like, I don't know. Oh,
Yeah, maybe keep the
you're
points.
right,
They're
you're
sixth
right,
place.
maybe-
They're sixth
maybe
place. Keep the points.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But Justin needs to go, as in like to a better team. I think.
Damn.
I feel like that's
Well,
that's
who
a
would he
tough one
join?
for it.
Can
Yeah,
Justin get on the
I
top
guess
five?
I keep forgetting they're sixth. I don't think how.
They're sixth place. Yeah, they're sixth place. So they don't get rid of Justin.
I guess he can't go to like I don't know. I wouldn't put him. Or would I put him on it? Nah, I wouldn't change any of the teams. But like he's very, very good still.
Mhm.
What about Justin on a V1?
That's
So
that's
who?
the only team I was thinking. But then who do you replace?
No.
Who do you replace, CJ?
Yeah.
Yo,
you
CJ,
don't.
who do you replace?
Oh, I'm gonna go the
You're gonna
PR
get
answer.
Top right,
and
yeah.
top
say,
right, Tommy.
PR answer is beast mode.
Ah, you're capping.
Oh.
It's ridiculous.
Because I don't know, that team would change playstyle so much if like any of those players left. So it's like, but you wouldn't change. I don't know, you wouldn't change us. You wouldn't change GT. I'd hope you wouldn't change FaZe. You wouldn't change Space Station.
Why not?
Nah, I think it's less about like.
you?
I think it's less about like where Justin would go. I think like surely like if you're NRG management right now, you're thinking build a team around around Justin, or like
but
maybe
then
not
you
even
lose
build a team
points.
around him. No, like you keep whoever would make the most sense with Justin plus whoever you're signing. I feel like it's no clear like Garrett or Squishy needs to stay. I think Justin. If you had the dream scenario, you keep
Well,
Justin. I reckon.
Well, if
Can I ask you a
Justin,
question?
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if you like seen the YouTube shorts or like anything, but like just off Twitter, if you're like an org owner, do you want to keep Justin as the only person?
oh yeah, no, I
Just as a
wouldn't.
brand risk, because Justin like has openly like dissed NRG. He's
Yeah.
very emotional.
Yeah,
like, I'm not saying like against him. I'm just saying like Garrett G is like a super, he was like the
PR.
face of Rocket League at some point.
Yeah.
Like he has content, he has the brand, he has the work ethic. Like he's what you would like perfectly want as your guy. Where
Agreed,
Justin,
yeah.
I guess if you want him to be better, like you could argue he's better, but he's a brand risk.
I mean, Justin was openly saying on stream that he hates the NRG decals. I don't know when this was. Or was it the new
Wait, did he
decals?
say that?
I saw a clip. I saw it like
I think those are
it
the
came up
older
on my.
ones.
I think it was like, I think it was
What?
old. I think it was like 6 months old or a year older. But it was like, I hate it. I was like, what? What am I hearing, bro? I'm like, but I don't know. Like, I really like him. I do like him as a person. Like, I don't want him to hear
Justin's
this.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't want him to hear this and just not like, that's a guy's
Oh,
a
don't
dick.
worry.
But,
It's already clipped out in context, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
Now listen,
good.
if he said that he doesn't like
sure
that
it's gonna be really good.
but surely that's actually real talk if he says that. I mean, obviously it's not the opposite of PR and like brand friendly, org friendly thing to say, but that's real talk to call your own org's decal bad.
Yeah.
Like, he's not saying
honest.
that. He's saying that
Yeah.
'cause he thinks it.
Very
And he
honest.
doesn't care about the consequences, clearly.
I just, his mentality is horrible.
Yeah, he's still like. I think every player knows he could be as good as he like once was.
Agreed.
But his like it sucks seeing like his mentality not improve from when he was like younger. Because like when Justin was 16, I mean it was like a joke, like or like the black profile picture, like but he would play better, and he's 16, but he was a god, so he'd kind of get away with
He'd
it.
be Justin White People Sad in RLCS.
Yeah.
Like it'll be straight up in
Oh,
name. Like
Yeah. But like you would just hope,
yeah.
and like I mean I had faith in him, or I gave him better the doubt. When he gets older, he would just like he would learn and become more mature. But I think he's probably a little bit better at it, but it's still like something I think that he is not like his strongest asset. Which
So
is
you're
like
saying
a tough thing.
you think Garrett's you just have to get Justin off NRG, get him a new team Like if you can,
Maybe.
I mean, you've got obviously you guys are
no.
competing
I mean,
against them, so it's hard to like think about it like without bias because they're your competitors. But like,
Well-
what would be the best outcome for? I mean, in your guys' opinions, what would be the best outcome for all three of the players and the org? Because the org's obviously very popular as well.
If I was NRG CEO, I'd want to build around Garrett, to be honest.
Mhm.
But if I was like looking at that team, they can't do it because like the points like Rizzo mentioned. But I think it would literally be beneficial for all of them if they didn't play with each other again.
Yeah,
As
that's what I'm
crazy as it
saying.
sounds.
Yeah.
And it's like
No,
a
I
wild
totally
thought,
agree.
but I think mentally everything they'd be better. Like
Yeah, too
Yeah.
much baggage,
Is it
too many
like-
losses, like too
It's
many
got-
like
it's
really
done.
tough
It's
ones.
done.
Is it
It's
like
so
what
done.
we
Done.
brought up earlier with like the greener pastures? Like you just get a new team and it's like that fresh
Yeah.
motivation.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
just need something new. Like you can tell it's just not there anymore.
Let me play devil's advocate though. If this team stays together, there's only one thing that's gonna work, and it's like 100%. Like it's not gonna work, but there's only one thing they can do if they stick together until the next split, and they should literally not scrim or talk or play with each other until the 27th of January. They need to just play ranked, keep the mech up, and then come together day one of the regional,
And
and it's
ball
like, hey
chase.
boys, like what's going on? What are you been up to, boys?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
if they scream, which is what you think you should do, is like we need to practice so hard. It's going to be the same thing. They're going to lose the vibes. Like I casted their game with Stacks, I think, on the Friday in the Swiss, and there's just no like synergy. Like they're not flicking the ball around and stuff. It's just like one in, and then the next guy goes in, and
dead.
it's so stagnant. Yeah, it's dead. But if they literally just don't talk to each other for 2 months, and I'm serious, this is the only way it's going to work. Do not talk to each other. Do not hang out with each other. Do not scrim, because it won't matter how well scrims are
I
going.
actually
It's still
agree.
you're rocking up. You're clocking into the 9 to 5 still. It's like Envy in Sweden. Turbo will know what I'm saying. They're just clocking in, clocking out 9 to 5. They need to stop doing that. Do not see each other until the day one of the regional. Do not even scrim and be like, boys, what's been happening? How's your Christmas? Like it's like the old gangs back together.
How's your Christmas?
And the guys are hanging out. That's the only way this team is going to work. I hope
But
NRG are
CJ
listening right now. That's it.
CJ,
That's
we
the
have an
strat.
issue. I think that they're actually like just good friends though. Still, like this is the problem.
It doesn't
is I
matter.
think-
They're
I think-
colleagues now.
So, no, but like I've heard them say that.
I think
you know,
they still love it. Like
Was-
I don't.
who
I
said
don't
that
think so.
they leave comms
they-
like they have a terrible scrim where the comms and the vibes are shocking, and then right after somebody will just be like, anyone want to jump on Val, and they're just like playing Val with the boys. Like somebody said that, it
Really?
might have been Garrett on the CJ. You're a podcaster.
They're saying
I
the
think they're just
vibes are good,
friends.
but
No,
look,
not
the
during.
vi-
I think during competition is bad. During scrims, really bad. During anything Rocket League,
I don't know
professional
how.
related, terrible. But then, like as friends, I think they're still friends.
I agree, but I just think they can't do that right now. It's too toxic for their actual
Okay.
playing because they're having too much fun. Well, clearly not having too much fun, but they're enjoying themselves outside the game. But as soon as they launch Rocket League, jump into a lobby, and they see those other two names alongside them, their teammates, they're like, "Here we go again!" Like all the bad thoughts can't bounce you back. There's so much pressure on us. I just think they literally need to not see each other. Like Squishy tweeted about how good the break's going to be for them. I think they need the break, and I'm not talking about like, hey, we're going to go hang out for a couple of weeks, celebrate Christmas, and then we're back into it. Like, I'm talking, go play ranked by yourself. Do not even look or think or remove these guys from your friends list or something. Don't even worry about what they're doing. And then just log back in, trust that everyone else has been hanging out, and they'll have this fresh mindset. Because the only way this team's going to get better is if they convince themselves that they're a new team by not playing for long enough.
By forgetting
together.
who they are. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I see.
I
see
mean,
where
if
you're
we're being
coming
if we're being honest, I don't like making like big assessments on people's lives, but from the information we've been given, the best thing for Justin to do is to retire. Not and to quit, because he's clearly, like, I don't know, from what he gives us, he hates it. Like, he hates playing the game.
From what you mean from what he puts out there? If everything that he
what he
puts
put out
out,
there, yeah.
puts out
if
there,
everything that he puts out is to be taken literally, is
Okay, I'm
what
not
Jack
gonna lie.
is
When you
correct.
said
I
that,
agree-
when you said
I
that, you were
agree with that.
absolutely insane. But like, once you actually explain it, and like once you think about what he's
from
actually
the information
said,
we've been- yeah.
I hate the game. He doesn't enjoy it. It makes him a little
If he
sad,
want-
all that stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
realistically, I'm not gonna lie. Retirement was the best decision of my entire life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, obviously, besides getting engaged to Athena, but
Oh, save!
Good
No!
save.
That was the
But-
biggest
what
play
I'm
of the
saying is,
split.
yeah,
Forget flip resets. Forget
retirement was the
redirect.
second
That
best
was the
play
biggest
of my
play.
entire life.
Oh,
so like
my.
seriously, like
That's a new mechanic.
it made me like I don't even know how to explain it. It made my life so
Jesus, this
much
is crazy.
better. It really
Bro, I
did.
was on the same team as you.
Yeah, wait.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no!
He's like,
not
I had
saved. Not
Yeah,
saved.
no, hold on,
It's
triple
not
save, double
saved.
save, double save, real quick.
Marriage
No, what I'm
saved,
saying is,
friendship
You
ended.
know, actually, there was I don't know, it probably doesn't exist as a clip because it was too genuine. It wasn't negative. So, like, there was actually, I remember me saying this too. There was a moment where people were like, why'd you retire and stuff like that. And I ended up saying something along the lines of, like, I realized I didn't want to play because I had the best two teammates in the world of JNabs and Chicago. And if I didn't want to play with them, then I didn't want to play with anybody.
Aw.
That's
saved.
deep. Deep
Actually,
and
it's
saved
You made me
again.
cry.
It's true.
Well,
Double save, yep.
Well,
I mean, you saved it, then you threw, and then you saved it again.
Yeah,
Like,
another
you saved
another
it,
save.
and then you almost own goal, but saved.
No,
your almost own goal.
he missed an own goal in 0 seconds and scored a double flip set in overtime. Win the series.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I honestly,
Like,
what was I even
facts.
saying? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, retirement
about
was great.
retiring.
Anyway, yeah.
no, but like Jack was saying was like, I mean, I was literally thinking it before he said it, and I like just obviously you can't assume anything, but just based off how
Right.
Justin acts, and like I honestly like him outside. Like I think he's cool. He's a cool kid.
I
and,
agree.
like, there's nothing wrong, but like so if I want him to be like mentally and just like mentally happy or mentally healthy, like genuinely. Does retiring not, based off the things he puts out, does it not seem like it would be maybe his best thing?
I
Or
agree,
maybe
yeah.
not retirement, because that's like a strong thing, but
At least take a break from the game.
like maybe take the rest of the season or the split off and just like go take your time. Because
Yeah.
genuinely, I think like the way he just puts like his tweets and his streams, I think like mentally it would honestly, and it's like crazy to say, but it seems like he would be insanely happy if he retired, just off like the way he acts. Again, I don't know how he feels because it's completely different, but just if I had to judge off what he says. So
No,
like, and
that's
it's crazy.
actually a
I've
good
never
point.
said that.
It's
about anyone.
That's a good point as well. He's got all the NRG fans as well, which are the worst fans when you're losing because they
Yeah.
like
Jesus.
Justin's been pretty open with the fact that it's not just the opponents getting like comms tweeted out DMs that he gets when he spams demos on NRG and beats him. Like Justin saying, yeah, don't worry, we get it as well. Like NRG fans are messaging them and being like, why are you losing, you idiot? And just like hating on the team that they're supposed to be fans of. So I'm actually kind of with you that maybe if not retire, then yeah, maybe Justin leaving would be the best move for everybody because he would just be happier, less pressure. So he could just chill, he'd just relax.
I agree.
Can we go back to that Squishy tweet though? Squishy was saying how the break would be really good for them as a team, or maybe he was saying him specifically. I don't remember what he said exactly, but like, wasn't there just a break? Didn't they have a break? Like, because they didn't make a roster switch. Was there ever pressure of a roster switch in the off season? I don't know.
That was my first thought as well. Is like, wait, what? But they've already been through like missing a LAN recently. But then I realized like maybe they were thinking. I think at some point they were considering going to Gamers 8 and they had Worlds in like a month. So like there wasn't like really like okay, we didn't make this LAN, so now we're just chilling.
They started to scrim for Worlds. Like,
yeah, they were scrimming for Worlds.
So how long is this break? 2 months, 2.5 for them?
I think it's actually kind of a similar length. I guess there's just they don't have Worlds looming, I suppose, is the only difference. But that might just be copium to try and like make sense of all that.
And their off season as well was just like, Sis was saying how they were trying to do some new things and stuff. It was still like always like focusing on working on how to improve. I think, as I said, the reason Jack talks about new team, the refreshment he had, because how he absolutely hated his time on Dig. But when you join a new team, like it's that Rocket League is too like it's not like other teams where you can just be together for like 10 years and you're just going to win off structure. It's so much based on like your synergy with your teammates and just like clicking on the pitch, and that's why they Garrett spoke about getting rid of Sears. It wasn't what he was doing wrong. It was just like trying to shake up the environment a bit, trying to get that fresh mindset. Unfortunately, it's not just replacing your coach wasn't enough for them, clearly, because they still were playing the same way very quickly, despite getting top 4 in that first regional, but with Johnny. But I'm literally telling you, like when they just need to just have that fresh, like coming in, like boys, It's this new environment. They haven't played together for ages. The only way to do that is have a massive break and not talk to each other or see each other. Or
has any team
because-
done that and seen success, like totally taking that massive break? Is there like any
Well, no,
history
but I
of this
think this is why this is groundbreaking
Yeah, but
technology.
energy are
oh my
different.
day, you're
This is-
I don't know. It's tough.
It's the only way though. If they got, I'm saying like I think a roster change is absolutely needed, but the reason is because of that fresh mindset. The only way for them to stay together and find some sort of success would be to have really actually have a break from each other.
Together.
You know-
Yeah, I mean,
when we keep bringing up like a roster change and stuff, I feel like just maybe a lot of listeners or even people in chat and stuff like that, they always see it as like a very negative thing. Like we want to like a
This is what's best for them.
Yeah. We think like a roster change is, well, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I would think a roster change is a positive thing for all of them.
Agreed.
in this
Agreed.
circumstance, yes, yeah.
I think we all
Mental
want to
health
see
and
them
stuff as well.
succeed.
Yeah.
Like, we all want to
Wow.
see Gary G at Lands. We all want to see like Justin be like happy and back to where he was. So it's literally
Everybody loves Justin. Everybody loves him.
And the best, I think it's clear that the best way to achieve all those things is to just try something new.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so there's no negative in this at all.
But no doubt in my mind, we'll be having this exact same discussion with the exact same answer in probably about the February or
next split.
March. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough because I really think there must. I was kind of joking with sunk cost fallacy, but it might actually play a part where they're like, "Oh, come on, we're so far down this road. The success must be coming eventually." But I don't know. There's just very few examples of that.
So
ever
if
happening.
absolutely do.
Yeah, like last thing about the topic, right? If they were to get anyone, right? Like, who would they get? I mean, there's going to be one name that chat's going to be thrown out, which has been thrown out for the past 9 months. But
let's break that down then. So there was, there's 3 players. We're kind of like not sure what the option would be, but okay, start off with Justin. If Justin leaves, who's the best player for them to get? If they have to keep 2 because they want to keep their points because their points are actually pretty good.
the best.
Who do you
player
replace Justin with?
That is the most likely. Like, you can't just go,
ApparentlyJack.
Yeah, well, you guys, who do you think is a realistic best option to replace Justin from you?
People like, I do think Aqua. Like, I mean, like, this guy could be a good player. Like,
did Gyro just say this?
Even Gyro
just said Aqua.
The thing is, right?
Aqua's
I think that the like fans are completely over exaggerating it. Like, oh, get Aqua top 5. Like, that's not going to happen. But like, I think that they could.
Yeah,
I don't think it would.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But it's not out of the world.
He won't become the best player in the world. Just clip it, and maybe he will. But like, who knows nowadays with the amount of young players just coming up and performing. But like, I think that it could help bring something out of them. And is there anyone else underneath NRG's rankings that are likely to join them? And then the next possible answer people are going to say is someone from Shopify, which I don't think they'll be splitting up. I don't think they'll split up.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
What if you had the NRG salary knocking it, or
I mean,
the
NRG could
opportunity
always
to
just
blow up your
offer
socials?
a bag. Yeah, just offer an absolute bag, and then.
Or if any of them have a content brain, then they're going to be thinking, "Listen, I'm instantly blowing up on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter if I join NRG." So it would be dumb for anyone not to at least consider it.
Oh no one has a
No one has a content brain.
Yeah,
no one has a brain.
No one has a brain.
No,
I'm just going to say,
has a brain.
if it's Justin, if Justin goes, and in terms of all of the logical or viable pickups, they're not getting in the top 5 still.
Because Justin's too good to replace.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
but you can't.
One. Yeah.
I mean, maybe you've got to remember as well. They're all kind of underperforming. Or at least we think they're underperforming because they've just got so much baggage and so many L's on the record that it's just
I still think it's too hard to get in there with
I think it has to be a
I
mechanical
agree.
player.
Justin's super hard to replace, but I mean,
I think it has to be a
if Justin
mechanical player.
So then my second question is going to be what if it's not Justin that goes? If it's Squishy that goes, who's the best player? Is it still the same kind of? Is it still Aqua? Is it still clearly the same player, or is there a different?
Kind of.
Is there a different jigsaw piece?
Kind of. I think you need
I feel like you open a little bit more options, like place.
Yeah, you do. You do, but I still think he's going to be one of the main picks. Like someone said, I could see AJ, but I don't think that I said likely. I don't think.
Yes, no, that's
change.
not likely.
Like again, yeah, you could say like, oh, first killer, but first killer never going to leave and join NRG, right? Like, I guess Aqua would. I genuinely don't think any of Shopify, but I know what you're saying. Like they could offer a lot more salary.
Why don't you think anyone from Shopify? Just because they're seeing success?
Well, I'm at the. Well, no, I just think that
you're at the Shopify facility.
No, I just.
But Jack, we're asking, like, do you think they'd be a good fit for NRG?
Well,
no,
if you whisper, can you answer the question?
No, what I mean by that is that I've heard that I think they quite like each other. Like, I think that they are a good, like...
Got it, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think they would want to. That's what I mean. Not that I mean I can't... Yeah. Yeah, no, not in that regard. No, like, I'm complimenting. I think they've got quite a good team on their hands. A bit better than what the results have been saying.
Okay. So it's still Aqua, even if it's squishy, and is it the same thing if it's Garrett that leaves? Is he Aqua the clear?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess it still wouldn't be pretty. I don't think.
Well, there you have it, folks. NRG Aqua is
it's confirmed.
Obvious. Everybody agrees. So
there's another pick.
How have they not reached this conclusion?
People saying Sierra. I don't think Sierra's not going to ditch complexity. They're not going to. None of those are going to leave.
But like, what would be the dream scenario? Anything's possible then.
It's hard
so this is
for
like
NRG.
realistic.
Then first killer, right?
Yeah.
You think? Really? You think first killer?
Yeah,
just
probably.
The hardest carry. Yeah.
First killer.
Actually, yeah, maybe just. Also, if you're removing him from phase as well, that's another thing to consider.
Yeah. It gets rid of it, like, or not gets rid of, but like gets rid of the main player on a team.
That's a good point. For Anna, if it was going to be, say, Justin going, the only way would be to try and blow up a team above them to get into the top 5.
Yeah.
They couldn't bring anyone from below them.
Yeah.
That's interesting. First killer. That would still be... I don't know if that would playstyle-wise work.
Andy.
I think see, from like... Okay, we're talking about individual talent perspective, but do you guys think that... I mean, Garrett's kind of mentioned it as well publicly, that he thinks they spent a long time trying to like learn the new meta, and then after like thinking, actually, maybe we're just not going to work as a team in this like new meta. Let's just, try and do what we've always done. And they saw a little bit more success doing that. But who would be the player to join and bring them to the new meta? So that now NRG are like, aggressive and they're all, I don't know, ball chasing, bumping, like whatever you consider the new meta to be. Who would revolutionize them? So
that very much like it depends what you define as the new meta.
Everyone's saying calm, but like bumps.
Because I don't think
bumps
are. I don't think my like last season, if you ask me, I thought like bumps and being like super aggressive and just hard ball chasing all the time is the meta. But my opinion has completely changed. Like, I think structure is like the main thing you need in a team. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question because I think it's just I still think it's a question of who's the best player. I don't think any player's better at bringing the meta into a team. I think it's just who's the best player available.
It's fair answer, I'd say. For the viewers taking notes right now of how to like improve their rank games and their teams like just demoted to diamond for the first time, they're absolutely in the bin right now. They're wondering okay, Jack, what do you mean when you say structure? What is that? How do you do that as a average Rocket League player?
Oh, you can't.
You're stuck at diamond, unlucky boys. You're stuck.
No, ranked. Oh, don't try and play with structure and ranked. No, that's no. I'm not even kidding. If you're going about like trying to improve by becoming a player that is like, oh, I'm playing for my teammates. I'm like a solid player. If you're trying to be a solid player in ranked, you never. If you make it pro somehow, you're going to be the most replaceable pro there is. Like,
True.
No, you will. Like, my biggest tip for anyone who's trying to improve has always been like, oh, just hard ball chase and be the most selfish player as possible, because you will improve the most from that.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that thing of if you're not trying to like. My biggest tip for those like people getting on the come up is like just go as fast as possible to like reads, like doubles, everything, because if you're learning something within like your comfort zone, you're never going to be able to like improve, and you need to learn speed. Like speed's so important because you can play slower, but like slow people can't play faster, if that makes sense. So you want to be able to like go for the craziest angles, like everything, like
You need to know how
fastest
to do
double
everything,
taps,
yeah.
double taps, corner reads, everything. Like just go as even if you're people like that are low ranked are like, you know, oh, but I didn't make any mistakes. I didn't whiff the ball. If you're not whiffing, like, so, you know, 95% of the time, that you're not improving. That's what I say.
95%.
Go as fast as you can and learn to hit the craziest angles as quickly as possible, and just go for as much random stuff as you can, and then you'll improve.
And what if a
That's
team
the OCS,
are trying to
right?
improve with the boys? You know, the boys you're queuing up together, like a team of 3.
Don't stop.
Is that
Nah.
no? What if they're not? What
queuing
if
with
they're not
people?
trying to get pro? They're just trying to enjoy ranked and win. What do they do?
Still ball chase.
Are they all ball chase, or like is that when you need like one of the players to be like, all right, my turn, no ball chasing,
Still, everyone. The only way you can win ranked.
all ball chase?
I swear to God.
There you go.
The better I am in ranked, the worse I am in RCS. Like, no, I'm not even kidding. Like, there's a direct correlation between the higher I get in 2s and the lower I get in RCS. And I'm like 200 in 2s, and I'm like suddenly like a really good player in RCS. I'm like, what's going on? Ranked is so strange.
Chicago, do you have anything to add to this? Like, kind of.
Chicago's a 2s
broad
ranked
topic?
fiend with Torment, so he's got a good idea of this.
I suck at rank now. Like, I used to be able to get high on the leaderboard, and now I like struggle to keep up, just because like it's air dribble, and I fall asleep and I get off and I go to bed, because it's just like, sorry, but like these night I'm done. Actually, I don't want to get tilted just by talking about it. But no, yeah, I play rank.
Are you just like sick of like
ball
waiting
chase.
you're waiting for a pass? You're like in the perfect position, and your mate just air dribbles. Your
well, like,
random teammate.
I used
To
to
be
say that on
honest-
stream a lot, actually.
Well, yeah, I genuinely think that the reason why NA's been so behind, like in the quote unquote bubble scene, is because like EU knows how to play Rocket League better than NA, and it's because it's not like these players' fault, but Justin and Sipical and like I guess First Killer now, like everyone wants to be them and wants to go for clips when, you know, so in ranked it's just who can get the most clips when you're not learning how to actually play Rocket League. Like you can pass, you can
say
rotate.
that. Can you say it one more time for T-Bates in the back? What was that? EU is better at Rocket League than NA.
Well, I'm just talking about for like the you know,
know.
the overall scene, because I think like the reason why EU depth is better is because they all know how to actually properly rotate and play the game and like make good decisions. Like, okay, I shouldn't go for this. Okay, I should pass here. I should air dribble here. I should take a 50 here. When in NA, it's like I'm watching people that have been in the same spot for 3 years just do the same play, and it's just air dribble. And I'm like you're not getting anything out of it. Like, okay, you might not feel good because you might get a cool clip, but you're not improving. Like, if I'm gonna be honest, and so many players just don't end up improving because every day they get on rank, they just want to air dribble and hit clips when they're not actually getting better at the game and when it comes to threes or decision making and so many other factors.
Actually, facts. Show us a low 50, North America. Show us a low 50. Give us something.
Show us an air dribble bump.
substance.
Give us an air dribble bump. Come
Oh,
on.
please!
I want to see it. None of this. None of this.
to see that.
None of this air dribble flip reset nonsense. Just air dribble bump them. Key move.
My experience, in my unbiased, you know, experience of practicing in or streaming in EU, playing ranked in NA. NA is so, like, just as you said, so much worse because everyone just gives so much space, and then it's an air dribble off. It's like, whereas EU, it's like someone's just on you, and you've just got it's all about like low 50s playing the long game, and like it's I don't know, it's crazier. Whereas I feel like NA is like you're playing 4 1v1s within a 2s game.
No, it's actually exactly
like
that.
Air dribbles.
Literally,
Or
like
1v2s. Yeah, 1v2s.
someone goes for their air dribble. Okay, it got saved. Okay, your turn to air dribble, and it's that for 5 minutes. And like, that's why I actually like I'm not good at ranked anymore because like I'm not very good at air dribbling and like just being like I'm not Daniel, so I don't like can 1v2 these kids. so I just end up in those lobbies where they think they're Daniel, and they're just like, oh, I didn't score. Okay, maybe this time. Nah. Okay, again.
Yeah,
No.
it's really funny. Like,
No.
as soon as I came here and started playing ranked 2s, I got like I got to rank 1 instantly just by I like faked every single ball and went for a low 50. And no one had any. Genuinely, if people were watching my stream, I would just play the games as slow as I could and just I'd fake jump 50 times a game and just low 50 and I'd go to 2350 MR. And now, it's so funny. It's
so
really
you're saying,
weird.
Jack, that now you're lower and lower in rank,
I guess
better
I'm
in RLCS. Like, have you just
converting.
are you
converting,
becoming
yeah.
an irritable main? Like, what's happening?
I must
here?
be. Nah, I don't know what it. I've always been. Whenever I get worse in 2s, I get better in 3s. I don't know what it is. Even back in Europe, it's so strange.
That's such a good topic. NA can't low 50. No, they do. It's such a that's why everyone, you know,
It's underappreciated.
I don't want to call that T-baits, but he's saying how much more mechanical NA is. That's because everyone just gives space, and it's a freestyle contest, and it looks really. It's oh, this is incredible. There's so much mechanics, but there's a lot more to Rocket League than that.
Some people were saying
Chicago
this
thing.
before the fall major last year. They were all highlighting this exact same thing, and using that as the evidence for predicting certain teams to do well and certain teams to do badly. And it was laughed at by a large part of the Rocket League community, mostly NA pre-Hopium, I would say, because you're getting the Hopium in early. They're saying, nah, the flip resets are going to be too good. Trust this air dribble. It's going to be unstoppable. No, it's
here's the thing,
it doesn't work.
NA, the top of NA, it's they're not doing that. They're not giving each other a ton of space. It's not like that. But the problem is, and I think T-Bates is generalizing it. Okay, I mean, we have Beast Mode, Atomic, even there's a lot of obviously other top players can do it. But when T-Bates thinks that he thinks of those players when it's talking about mechanics. When in reality, it's just we have some of the absolute just most insane players at that kind of stuff that they're able to pull that stuff off when, then
when
Billy
matters.
Bob 43 goes in the race. You're not Daniel. Go to the ground and just please. And just figure it out. And then T-Bates is sees Daniel flip reset and he's that's the entirety of NA. We got that. And I love T-Bates. He's my favorite, but T-Bates generalizes when he sees certain players and just thinks of that is the entire region. But yeah, that's the problem with NAs. They think they're someone that they're not. You're not Daniel is Daniel because he's a absolute just god. You can't just mimic someone. You got to figure out how you can improve in other areas than trying to become someone else when you're just not a freak of nature like Daniel is, or First Killer, or Atomic, or Beast Mode, etc.
It's how why Jack was sort of saying Vatira is best player in the world. It's because Vatira is it's just the other little things. It's cutting rotation, challenge game, defensive work. It's not just this guy can hit a double flip reset. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the EU teams being more successful in the 3. I just think they've got more of a round of threes game. The top players in EU, whereas I think as you said, Reed, the NA players have the mech. They can pull out the mech and clip on kids in 1v2, 1v3. But just that, I don't know, the players like Vatira and what you're seeing from Carmine right now is just
they get a lot for very
well-rounded.
little. They just
they
don't use any boost, they don't jump, and they're just past someone.
I think BDS
No jump,
was
no
the
boost,
first
you're
team.
through.
Yeah, BDS was the first.
BDS was the first team I've ever it felt like I could tell they're trying to play the most efficient Rocket League possible.
Mm.
And then,
even if you have 100 boosts, you still use 10 just to put it into an awkward position.
Yeah,
and that's
or
all they care about.
If you have the ball and you have space in the full boost, you don't just immediately go for an air
Use all the
dribble.
boosts, yeah.
You go for maybe you just hit around a guy, and then you go, maybe bump someone else, so you make the most out of the impact you possibly can, than just going for the straight up clip.
Yeah, I mean, I also the whole space topic. I don't think necessarily giving a team space is always a bad thing. I think I mean, I'll let people figure that out.
Would you say that if there's a threat,
I think
then
you can
you gotta close it down? Is usually
the amount of times I give teams space and because actually I shouldn't really talk about it too much, but you can do it. I don't know. You can do it. Like,
But you can't do
giving
it
space-
every time. You can like I feel like I don't know if this applies to threes as much, but it's like tendencies. If you're doing it every time, I feel like that's just asking.
Kind of, but it depends.
like,
It depends on the
get clicked on.
position. Like,
A
challenge
fake
game
challenge.
is so
Would you agree a
important.
fake challenge doesn't work if you fake every challenge?
I
Like
think
if you
that-
fake challenge every time, then they're gonna know you're fake challenging. So that's why you need to actually challenge sometimes. It's the same in threes. You gotta like actually.
It's like you need to
don't go
speed
enough,
it
you're
up
not
to be
gonna-
able to slow it down.
Yeah, you've got to
sort of
like
thing.
mix it up. If
Right,
you just
yeah.
like, if you fake every challenge, then the other team's gonna know that that's not real. I'm just gonna control the ball. I'm not gonna hit it away and give it. Like you are you referring, Jack, to when you like let the other team hit the ball at you, basically, or give the ball away because you give them space and they're not really doing
Just
anything?
with, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say necessarily like anything like what it is exactly, but I just think the whole
Sure,
like
yeah.
I think that the whole because I've played in both regions, and what I've learned is that everyone gives space. You know, like even in Europe, you have space. Like I know everyone thinks in Europe you're always like everyone's always there, and I thought that, but like you actually like you do get space. Like and sometimes having space isn't always a good thing. It depends on like other factors. Rugby league is not as simple as the person on the ball. Like it's not.
I
as
love
simple
how
as that.
cryptic this is. That you're trying to not reveal everything, but also get some message across. This is phenomenal.
It's. I mean, yeah. It's not as simple.
Somebody's gonna be decoding this.
Like team
okay,
structure is so much more important than like than just about what you first see. Like boost. Like I can't. Yeah. But I just think that giving space is fine sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's all about the change up. Like if you're like as Johnny said though, if you're always giving team space, like the worst thing you can do is make the other team feel comfortable and like get players comfortable in the mechanics and stuff, knowing that they're gonna have time to do whatever they want. You still want to have that threat, you know what I mean, of always that could be on, even if you are giving space.
Well,
So
I'll
I
tell
think
you
it's a
like
good
what used to
balance.
be different because before you played in, I think NA's changed a lot, but before you played in NA, Jack, like season X, maybe started last season a little bit, but not by the end. Definitely not by the end. Like the one thing I would notice being done differently a lot is that in NA players would recover more towards boost, and then EU people would recover more towards the ball. So that when they're recovering, they're demoing, they're bumping, they're cutting rotation in that way. But that's like one way of taking space away that's hard to counter. Whereas if you're just like in defense, third man, you're not supposed to like charge. That's dumb.
So yeah, I think the main point of what I mean is right is that when people think like like this region gives so much more space or this region gives so much less space, they think giving less space means you're gonna have someone diving at every ball.
Yeah, you dive. Yeah, you're like plain vision dive.
Yeah,
No, it's like more
just
like
be
where
there.
you drive. Like
Yeah,
if you're at the game,
so
where you
much-
going? It's more
Yeah.
like I think NA doesn't really do it anymore. I used to notice it a lot. I was like, oh, why is
It's
he?
got- that's
he's,
what I
he's-
mean,
He's
that's why
leaving
I
the
think-
rotation over here, and now he's just out of the game for longer than if he'd just gone straight back towards the ball and
Yeah.
like accepted the fact that he's not gonna have boost. But now at least he's doing something. But nah, NA doesn't really do that anymore. At least not the top teams. Some teams do, but none of the teams who are at LAN or going to LAN do that. They're all.
That's
They're
what
all
I'm
demoing
trying
in
to
their
say.
recoveries.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think the
And I say that 'cause
the
I'm not-
whole
I'm not trying to,
space
like-
discussion is now gone.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like make Jax reveal his strats because I know he's trying not to reveal strats, but I know that there's definitely not this, which is why I bring it up because there's no shot that this is what the secret is. It's pretty simple
Yeah.
stuff.
All right. I'm going to segue a bit off of some ranked gameplay here. For the EU-NA debate. I have one final thing for Chalkcast here tonight. Do you guys think region hopping kind of undermines the whole region rivalry? It feels bad for the sport. That was from Kirby Ethan in chat. That was like actually an hour and a half.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
did
so
wanna read it out.
cringe.
Yeah, do you think the fact that Jack went to NA is cringe?
Yeah.
No,
No.
I say no, but I'm probably biased, but no.
I'm-
I don't even think James Cheese going to APAC is actually cringe. I think
James Cheese is cringe. Jack is fine.
I saw the comment. I think Stacks might have commented this on Twitter. I don't know if I saw this on, but I might have just been throwing him under the bus. But people saying, the world champs are the world champs for a reason. Everyone gets world spots because we want to see all the teams in the world compete. I think it's different than, say, Counter-Strike, where I give the example of Renegades in Counter-Strike, would only fly back to Australia to compete in the qualifier, get the spot, and then go back to America. I think that at least the teams like James Cheese are in APAC. They're streaming APAC teams. They're only improving that region. Whereas if they were just rocking up for the weekend tournaments, playing, getting their points, and then going back to EU or NA or wherever, then that's like dog because they're not improving that region. But I think this is only improving like the global quality of Rocket League. everywhere.
This is what I think. I think people are hugely overestimating how much APAC are going to improve as a region from James G's playing there. Like,
Wait, you
like,
said,
whoa,
you said,
whoa, whoa,
no,
whoa.
you said
Disagree.
overestimating? Overestimating?
yeah, over.
SSA and APAC seem to be competing pretty closely, but you don't think
It
it's
might-
They're not going to be. No, I don't think they're going to be like crazy.
I
I'm just saying
I don't know if I even
No, but
scrimming them.
what CJ?
They
all right,
are.
well,
They
yes.
might be, but yeah, you speak to Cammy. But I heard that they were going to scrim the OC teams on like really high ping. Like I just don't think it's going to improve it that much. Like that.
But
like,
what
by
CJ's
the
saying is
end
like
of
a
the
principle
season-
thing. He's saying like principally, like if you go just to pick up the spot then leave, that's a bit cringe. But at least if you're scrimming the region, being a part of that region's ecosystem, then it's different.
But yeah,
Whether
no,
or not it does
I agree with
anything, it's
that.
like by principle. It's
But my
a
main
good
point
way
is
of
that
doing it.
people are really going like, oh yeah, but like at the end of the season there'll be teams that are competing with James G's. I don't think there will be. Like that. I
Maybe,
don't,
maybe not one season.
I
maybe
think
not
by
one season,
third
but
split, I
it's
think we're
possible.
already seeing they're dropping a couple. They've dropped a few games compared to the first one where you saw the stats, the octane stats of the first region. It was like
Yeah.
2.1, 2.1. They're not doing that anymore. They're still dominating, but it's. I just think even seeing some tweets from the APAC players like, oh, they seem motivated to like want to learn and improve. They're doing replay analysis on the James Cheese games and stuff. I think they're basically getting international experience without going. That's the biggest thing
Maybe.
for these minor regions of being like, I want a boot camp because I want to get flogged and learn about it. Pretty much is what. And they're basically just getting this one team now that is an international quality team that before they had no one to scrim against, and then they went to a major and got flogged.
Well-
But people are saying like you don't lose if you're losing 16-0. They're not beating teams 16-0. Like watch some of the games. Like they are still comfortably winning, but it's not like it's getting a lot closer. But teams are still learning from.
But
it.
at the same time, if I guarantee you, if I played open quals, I would still drop games because you still drop. Rocket League is like you still drop games like that, like against these like lower teams. Like I don't think
you
they're
would not
improving.
you would not drop games in open quest.
I
If you were an APAC, yeah, but in NA, no, you would not.
wait
Yeah,
in APAC.
look,
I would drop games.
No. Wait, did I say that? In APAC, you would
Yeah.
not, but
Yeah.
in NA,
You
In
would.
NA, yeah,
you would. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was saying. So if I'm in NA
Oh.
open quals now.
Yeah,
I'm still
agreed.
like because basically CJ said like they're dropping games, like they're dropping games here and there. I'm saying it doesn't matter because like most like Rocket League, you just randomly drop games against teams sometimes. I just don't think they're going to improve that much. I also think that it's not the players' fault. I think it's like completely abuse it. Go get your major spot, and I love it for Vert especially. Get to see him at that. But like,
I feel you said the word abuse. I do feel like it's kind of abusing the system in a way, like just
Oh, it
completely
is,
moving
yeah,
the
absolutely.
region.
But
Yeah,
they-
yeah.
of course it
No,
is.
but they're not. As I said, they're not just flying in, grabbing their spot and
No,
leaving.
it
Like they're
doesn't matter,
living.
CJ.
It
I
does,
think
that's
it does
massive
matter.
impact.
I think it does
CJ,
matter.
CJ, why did they move to APAC specifically?
Well, obviously
No,
they're
nobody's-
going to have an
nobody's-
easier time, but at the
nobody's
same
arguing
time, there's
that.
still benefits for.
They
Yeah, I'm
haven't
not
done-
saying.
Yeah.
I'm not
Because
saying
they
that
knew
could go
it
to
was
NA.
a free way to the major. It's a little bit of an abuse to the
But
system.
like, no, let me explain. So if they're having such success and people look at how, like, let's say they do not do well at international majors at all, like
They
let's
won't.
say James Cheese, yeah, realistic chance that they finish dead last at this first major. It's very possible.
And they
maybe
will.
they don't. Yeah, okay. So if they do, with this realistic world that Rizzo already predicts, like, what if another team who missed out on NA and EU is thinking, yeah, no, that APAC spot's looking pretty juicy. That team doesn't look too bad. Like, what about we head over there? Like, I think it only becomes a problem if it has
yes, because
full
that will
imports.
happen. That
I think it will. Like, I think they've had a
have you
success
guys
story.
seen? Did you see the tweet from a person who's in the SSA region that said there's an EU bubble team that is was thinking about going to SSA just to get the world spot. Like,
Yeah.
it is literally
Yeah,
going
they
to be a
said that, yeah.
competition of whoever gets there first. Let's get a world spot. There's gonna be like ranked B plus players getting to play against Monkey Moon on the stage. Like, oh my god, we can just move regions and scam a spot in worlds. Like, nah.
Nah, I think that a lot of people won't just look at the success that team's had, but also look at like how much fun they're having. They'll be like, actually, Korean barbecue looks pretty good. I think I want to head out there and see what the world is like.
But I
They're
promise, I swear to God, I don't want to drop Vert into anything. But I was on holiday. This guy, I thought they were not going to scrim APAC teams from what I was hearing.
No, I totally agree with where CJ's coming from with that. I think if you're just going over there to try and pick up the spot, scrim teams from other regions, and not actually be a part of that region's ecosystem, that's a bit scummy. I reckon. That's. I mean, fair enough. You're playing within the rules, but still. Bit scummy, and I do agree that
it's not on them though.
I think it kind of is. I think it kind of is if you're doing that, because sure you can say that you're just playing with the rules. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. But come on, at some point you've got to see just rising tide raises all boats. I think if you're all scrimming each other, you're all gonna get better. It's not you can't just scrim on high ping.
Yeah.
Do you think though? Because are they gonna get better? Teams?
Yes, they do. Kami said that in the regionals that until you're about top 4, you basically can play with one thumb, and that's about it. But once the top 4 in APAC is still somewhat, it's somewhat competitive. There are some decent teams, and they're getting better as well, and they are scrimming them. Like Detonator, Detonator took them to game 5.
Yeah, they went game 5, and they were like, wait, what? And they really had to focus up, and they won that, game 4 or 5 pretty comfortably. But
it's not like they're going to be an EU caliber.
Yeah, they're gonna I think lose games and maybe lose a series this season. I think they still could lose a series this season.
I don't think they lose a regional. I don't think they lose a series.
I think they're going 9-0 in the region. As a major team, do you guys think they win a series? Do you guys think they make it out of Swiss?
Possible.
I genuinely think
it's matchup based.
Yeah,
Swiss Swiss, no, right? Nobody's saying they get
no,
Swiss.
not Swiss. But I think they can get a win if they play power.
I think they can get 2. I think they can get 2 wins.
The format's changed. Do you think they make top 8 in any of the majors?
No.
It's they're probably, if they're in OCE, they're probably 3rd, 4th team in OCE. They still wouldn't be as good as top 2, and it depends how good do you think an OCE team's going to do.
All right.
Well, Sam 2's looking pretty ropey as well right now.
They could beat Sam 2. That's the one team they could beat. Yeah.
Sam 2, OCE 2. If one of the OCE teams all get sick and jet lagged, traveling the other side of the world, beatable.
Realistically, South American number 2 seed and OCE number 2 seed beats them. I'd say 8 times out of 10 at least, probably 9 times out of 10. But there's still a chance. I think they can get a win at some point.
The problem people in
CJ
chat...
lost scrims to APAC last season, so it's possible.
Wait, really?
If they lose.
Did we?
How?
Yeah,
we nearly lost
the
Gladiators.
I saw the replay in ball chasing.
I'm
gonna go find it.
I don't know. The problem with people in chat though saying it's so bad for the region. You're robbing people of major spots. But APAC are going to majors, and then you same people in chat are saying APAC don't deserve a spot. Let's give another spot to NANEU.
Yeah.
What do you want? You want them to go to the majors and go 0-6 and get perfect swept, and then be like, this is a waste of a spot. We should get more for NANEU. Well, at least they're improving the region, and they're playing with Realize. They're playing with someone from APAC.
Yeah, they've got a Japanese player.
At least they're competitive.
No, I agree with that. Yeah,
right?
no, yeah.
Is that the concern there? At least they're competitive. They're actually when they go to the major, at least they're a little bit more competitive.
I'm saying that sending one APAC team to the major is improving the region way less than having James Cheese there for the entire season. So what do you want? Do you want the region to grow? Well, it's not sending a Detonator to the major. It's having James Cheese there for the entire season, screaming them all the time, improving them.
That.
It's not one APAC team going and then getting 3 scrims while they're over there because no one wants to scrim them, and they're playing a bit of ranked. They can play US West ranked anyway when they're at home. They're not improving when they're going over there. They're just getting flogged.
That's why I love you, CJ. That's why I love you. That is a great point.
Thank you.
James Cheese is now my number 1 team.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
I want them to win the major now. They're my team. No, that's a great point, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why I love Rizzo, because when evidence to the contrary of his opinion appears that would persuade him that he might be wrong, he's not proud. He's not a proud guy. He's willing to admit that he was wrong and
well, I wouldn't say I'm not a proud guy. I'm pretty proud of myself, I would say, but I'm not. I'm
not overly proud.
I'm prideful, but I would admit when I'm wrong. I feel like CJ made a great point. So
exactly, that's you're not going to let your pride get in the way of what's right.
And I think CJ's right.
Yeah,
we love James Cheese as well. We love them as people and as a team. So,
yeah, I find that name quite funny. I'm pretty sure their name is basically
just a restaurant.
It's just the only English place that they could find on the Google Maps. I think is what Bert told me. I'm pretty sure. The only English place they could find.
That's class. Well done.
Anyway,
All
we'll
right.
see how they go.
I think that, yeah, Chief Beef, I'm just going to say you did raid at the absolute worst time possible, but I do appreciate the raid. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But I was going to say, if there's any final thoughts on the whole James Cheese APAC debacle.
APOC?
Yeah, I said APOC because I was going to say debacle afterwards. So APAC debacle. Then, feel free to say it. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up Shotcast number 18 right here. Any thoughts?
I will.
John AK wasn't happy we talked about complexity. Of course he's not. Complexity.
I thought we did talk about complexity actually, briefly.
Unlucky. They missed about. No, we talked about it before the stream started. Basically, they have the worst open net miss percentage in overtimes that matters. Is the main thing.
So unlucky, but they had a chance as well to.
Unlucky, but actually entirely their own fault. At the same time.
We'll see.
They could make it. I think they. Well, I don't know. They will make a major, but they'll definitely still be fighting for it in the next couple of splits.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're good.
Fighting. They're a fire.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching Shotcast number 18. Thank you to all our audio listeners. Shout out to the co-hosts and shout out to the guests, ApparentlyJack and Chicago. We appreciate you being here as always. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.